喂，有画面吗？有哈，有吗？人有哈，好啊，我们今天来那个重温2018 WCS 瓦伦西亚站哦，那个黑石的比赛，我们只看黑石的，好吧？我们只看黑石的。这一次比赛是我觉得黑石人生最高峰啊，就是他星海的成就最高最好的一次，就是这次比赛。那也是在这次比赛以后，对不对？那个黑石的应该不能说他是在更之前的时候，他的奇特打法就已经有点声名大噪了。但是在这场比赛以后，他的实力就受到肯定了，打到冠亚军了，非常的厉害啊。然后他这一整场的比赛，对不对？整趟比赛都打得很惊险，都是那种要输就赢了，要输就赢了。所以，然后那时候在转播的时候，我是去现场，我是去那个暴雪电竞馆转播的。然后那时候因为是两组主播赛品嘛，所以有将近一半的比赛我是没看到，所以我现在我们就重新来看一次，那顺便我就边看边讲这样啊。那我们先从那个小组赛好不好？小组赛他打 Elaser 的。
Welcome back to Valencia, Spain, as we move.
有人看到合不了嘴啊？合不了嘴啥？有没有跳过啊？我觉得这边得跳过啊。我们直接到比赛那里好了。还是你们想要连前面这些都看一看
？And Artosis. Yes. You seem so excited about group.
这是当时的 Elaser.
Okay, so it's not crazy to say Haas can do something good here. And Elaser did end up winning.
那个时候的 Elaser 很强啊。
But I gotta go
就是以那个等级的那个比例来说，那时候的 Elaser 很强。
Haas eliminated Elaser from that. I want you guys to know. 2-1.
啊，跳，直接到比赛好了。
That might give us an indicator.
有没有黑石啊？看一下，黑石在这。
And the top Americans who are generally favored.
白痴，这图修太多了吧
I feel like they're all underrated, you know?
Yeah, I mean, player like Haas does consistently make his way through. He is clearly out of the qualifiers that he goes through one of the best.
来，我们直接看比赛。
Maynard, I think we all say a very good player, good results.
Thank you very much, Nick.
黑石对上 Elaser，
Great job breaking it down. I'm
这是网西冷战32强。
Human brother, Johan Le Todd Merlo. Todd is going to be Todd or the romantic human. You can choose.
It's not about.
然后这地图是 Roster and Fun， 这叫什么？失物招领，失物招领左下角蓝色是黑石。
The blue Protoss. He's already got a probe headed across the map. It is Haas.
这是我觉得神族超级强的一张图。然后地图右上角 Elaser 重组。那我们看到那个黑石开场对，一只弓兵已经拉过去了。他已经拉着弓兵了。那时候的黑石的打法对不对？他有一招很强，就是兵营放之后对，然后放个 BF 直接光炮对方，然后走那个不朽者。那这张图你看啊，这场黑石也是这样打，他 BG 放了以后，然后放了 BF， 那弓兵已经到对方家了。那他等等会抓准时间，等到 BF 大概半血的时候，他会去用建筑去卡对方。好，那是要下来了。那因为这个时间点很奇特，你知道吗？一般来说，这个时间点重组已经不太会去防光炮，因为你要放早就放了，没有人在这时候放了，太晚了。所以 Elaser 第一时间完全没有意识到被光炮。 我这时候打到5400多，这时候我的天地分数是5400多，然后2光炮对不对？卡的，然后 Eraser 目前看起来是要放弃了，你看他直接一直工兵往3矿走嘛，所以等等他的2矿应该取消，他没有要赢手。喂，他盖起来了。Eraser 要守，他原本要盖3矿那边，后来他选择要守。那这边是3个光炮了，那 BY 也在做。那黑这个打法对不对？等等，他现在就是把那个2矿打了，然后上面有一个水晶塔开视野，所以上面水晶塔也没有那么好处理。哦 ，Eraser 这边是要盖他2矿，堵死了，这也没有办法进去了。那这个2矿就确定掉了。那这样的话 ，Eraser 开场已经亏死，这个开局就是亏死。好 ，Eraser 这边一样还是要，还是一样野了一个主宝了。他这样的话，一样也是要用什么蟑螂啊那种东西打一个鸭子。好，后虫也死了。啊，Eraser 这场失误蛮多的，说实在，他应该是完全没有意料到会这样打。然后他是平常在欧服练习的时候，可能也没有遇到什么，基本上不会遇到有人这样玩的，所以感觉他这个应对，对不对？说真的，瑕疵蛮多的。好，这边是出蟑螂，要直接用蟑螂反打。那等等3矿那边主保好，对，应该也有可能会做一支工兵插地师，或者直接就纯蟑螂去打。我觉得纯蟑螂应该就可以，因为那个门口没有什么防御能力。那黑石这边是走 VS 哦，他其实这招对不对？他这招其实是下 VR 的，但是因为对方这场没有硬手，而且他看到对方走蟑螂了，所以他这边是下 VS， 准备要出限制来防守。
With that Oracle already almost out, of course, Oracles are fantastic against Ravagers.
家里放一个光炮，其实那个光炮啊，我觉得不用贴着盖。今天你稍微往后一格，那个蟑螂的射程只有4嘛，你稍微往后一格的话，对于那个虫族来说会蛮辛苦。所以其实这个光炮小细节的话是可以不用贴着盖，贴着盖反而对蟑螂来说是比较好。当然对结尾兽来说就没什么差。好，那这边是解掉，那黑石家里是走 VS， 然后接个 VR。哦，这场我是第一次看，我那时候当时是没有看这个的。
Come down, maybe with some void rays and some immortals or something that's sort of that.
You know what I think would have been really sick? Has is not doing it, but instead of getting that robo thought, if he just gets a second Stargate, and that brings us back to, you remember the IEM Katowice final, the game that Classic and Rogue had at Apotheosis, where he did that second Stargate, but then he fought near the Spore Crawler. I think if you go void rays and phoenixes from this point.
那现在看起来，对不对？那个虫族是有没有神族也是2个矿，2矿打2矿的话，神族完全是不虚的、哦。而且家里有走利亚跟虚空都是蛮好守蟑螂的。我觉得贴着盖就是会有那个问题，就是你今天没有结尾的时候，你用蟑螂硬点也点得掉。这是直播，但是是旧的比赛。
I guess there's going to be a second void ray, but the immortals is what he needs to counter with more units on the ground.
Has is wasting some resources as those pylons and batteries have not been cancelled, but he's in a position that he can lose a couple of resources. He's up 5 workers.
这边就看操作。我觉得这个时期的黑石的，就是不管是在战术上面啊，然后在操作上面都是他的巅峰时期。2018年的黑石，我觉得他最强的时候。然后从这场比赛。这一次的瓦伦西亚战打完之后，对，他开始没有办法回到这时候的巅峰。我觉得这时候就是他巅峰，最强的黑石就这时候。我是他正在讲解啊，这是我这场比赛我也没看过、啊，当时没看。我最强时候，我觉得也是这时候、欸。我觉得我自己最强的时候应该也是这个时候。就是18年那时候，应该也是我最强的。哇，这个虚空直接去对方家，这样变一个换家了。那家里因为有电池，所以这个其实不是很好打进去哦。这立场也是拖一点时间。那这样的话就是虚空把那个虫族家清了，对，再回救就好。我没有参加台港啊，但是我那时候也是5400多分了。 我那时候如果参加就没有转播啦。我那时候我那时候赛评。
Left over by themselves with the one Ravager that's about to die. Nice transfuse at the last second.
Yep, and there's that recall as well.
我记得这个版本是没有超级电池，这个版本是没有超级电池。
These queens are off creep. The sport crawlers are not here to help, and I think that's going to be all she wrote for game number 1. The Taiwanese madman Haas takes the 1-0 lead here, and he did.
那时候我记得黑石他好像有说。他打比赛对不对？只要是遇到虫族就不可能输。那时候他对自己的那个自信就是打这场比赛的时候，遇到虫族就不会输。然后打人类的话是最危险的。
Do you think Artos is starting to get a little bit worried now about his prediction?
I think at this point, if Artos still gets worried about his predictions,
艾莎拉，这时候就是我觉得黑石最强的时期。
Yeah, pretty much.
Of course, just the first game of a best of 3. Plenty.
我们跳着看好不好？我们直接跳第2场。
And even if he would lose,
中间应该也没有什么。
by no means eliminated of the tournament, he will go into the.
直接跳第2场好了。
That's making you have mistakes in a game. This is cannon rushes and unconventional.
好，这第2站。
Starting in the bottom right hand side of the map. Already again with a probe going across the map, playing as the blue Protoss. It is Has.
He could hatch block here if he wants, but he can also go full Turkey Dano print Ebony laser here with Pelleries, cannons, and a proxy robo. On the left top side, we're looking at the Polish Zerg player. He is still the reigning champ of WCS Valencia. It is Elaser.
Elaser.
He said he's ready to win it all again. Artos.
好，那双方的第2场比赛地图是这个 Kato
sends out his probe this early. To make sure that Elaser expands somewhere else. He's doing
哇，这张图叫什么去了？
really know what to follow
我想一下，这张图叫什么？我这张图忘记叫什么名字了。
Yeah, getting the early scout there starts a gas back at home. Where's that 4 gates? Come on, bring back that old vintage 4 gates.
好，不管，反正左上是虫族，右下是蓝色人类神族。然后这场那个 Elaser 因为不想被光炮，对，他直接把2矿开在3矿了。 其实当时有一段时间，一堆虫族都是这样子打神族的，因为黑石大家在这次比赛打完，对不对？很多神族都在学他的打法，不管是韩服、欧服、美服，大家都在学，所以那时候的虫族有一段时间，对，甚至直接2矿都不开，直接开3矿那个位置，避免被光炮。啊，这样子的话，你说，那我盖你3矿怎么样啊？他3矿炸料盖2矿就好了，就是相对来说比你2矿炸料盖3矿好了。而且通常建筑学来说，3矿建筑学比较难做，没有像2矿的那么好做。一般来说。 是阿姨，你说北蓝阿姨嘛？我吃过了，打抛猪很辣嘛？我说出很辣嘛3个字，你应该知道我吃过是吧？ 今天看完比赛都不知道几点了。
Then I'm pretty sure there's gonna be something changed about these cannons in Belgrade, Joe.
You're gonna have to start cannoning yourself. I don't think you do a whole lot of cannon rushes.
No, I'm not a cannon. I
很
used
辣
to have a big cannon.
阿姨有问我说你要吃多辣，我说跟你一样辣就可以了。
And I said I had a problem, and then all I do is cannon rush. They greeted me. They said, "Hi, Kevin. We're familiar with those terrible habits." And I said, "I promise, guys." I had a sponsor, you know, a very good Protoss player.
Vitamins.
Yes, no.
好，那黑这场是 VCV 啊
Come on, man, just a little cannon.
，VCV 啊，我怎么感觉
Last one.
他会走
So I stopped.
头白球啊？
And never did it again, but
那个时候的 meta 很有可能是头白球。哎呦，哨兵
and Shadon, the French Protoss had a lot of success with it today.
Let's play a game. It's like a really hard game and really bad game actually.
哨兵
Let's predict what Has is gonna do. Can you do that? What do you think?
I think it's gonna be. He's gonna pretend.
哨兵提速狂，所以他，我觉得又有战术哦。这个可能，我预估啦，
How would I say that?
他有可能人进在哨兵过去封口，然后刷提速狂，
Usually 44 probes, but yeah, you can definitely stop early.
或者是他没有要封口，直接打正面，然后用哨兵去隔立场。
Maybe
然后让狂战士可以输出，这也是有可能，看他怎么打。
But he's gonna not actually use them, you know.
Yeah.
You sometimes you want to invest 100.
催化
as a Protoss player because you know the Overlord is there.
我忘记了。
nothing to worry about here. I'm taking my third and fourth gas. And then you can even take the probes that are mining in the main and send those to the natural. So Zerg thinks everything is normal. But us disgusting Protoss players, we know it's not normal. We know we're willing to all in. But so far, I mean, Haas sends out the Observer. He has the Prism on the way. Okay.
And Woody Laser even scout there. Like, I think, is that an overload down there all the way down? That's the one overload that he has across the map?
Got a Zerg thing running around.
I don't think he would see that.
7 roaches at 41 drones. So Elaser, it's safe to say that he's rather safe than sorry here. He's like, you know what? I don't know what it is, but I know your Haas. I know you like to be aggressive. And I know it's going to be something weird. So I'm going to make these roaches now to make sure I have something. And then we'll see what you're actually doing.
Yeah, I'm surprised there is no more gateways than this. I guess.
I think he's going to take an expand, but I don't think he's actually going to use it. And then probably like...
Still no gases on the second base. First 3 Zealots are there. He could warp in. 4 more here with his 4 gateways.
He could eventually throw down on Templar Archive.
看来是想封口看看哦。
Yeah.
可是怎么可能封到，对不对？这年头，哦，我知道了，我知道了，反封口，他想反封口，他想要使用那招所谓的介在封与不封之间的那种封口。可是刚刚看了一下，没机会啦，因为下面有后虫，然后上面有蟑螂，所以。他不管是从下面封或从上面封，都不太有机会，所以他是放弃了，开了3矿。刚刚那个风口就是介在封，有点封又不太封的那种风口，看情况的。
And has already been producing immortals for a little while. I think we have 2 immortals out right now. Is that correct? Yes.
Yeah. So it's 4 sentries that are building on energy.
Exactly. It's gonna be tough to get a good fight with those roaches. Of course, there's Ravagers, and in the end of the day.
那我们看到这边黑石其实人口是有点落后，不过这个落后是因为对方出蟑螂啊。对方爆蟑螂的话，蟑螂毕竟是便宜，然后人口又占2，所以感觉起来好像神族落后人口落后30，对，好像蛮多，其实还好。
Yeah, I mean.
那这边冷静还是想要试试看有没有机会。原来里面在狂战士啊，那这样也没有封口不封口的问题，给压力而已啊。那这样黑石当时这个冷静应该只是为了要给对方压力，因为他上面不是在哨兵，他是在狂战士。
I think Haas is playing a pretty good game so far. He's reading the situation well. Like obviously you would think like, hey, shouldn't he be more aggressive with the Zealots? But there is no need if Elaser already has all those roaches. I actually don't think.
哦，然后这个 timing 很神奇哦，他打这个 timing 通常不太这样打，这个 timing 就是那种3矿才营运才刚好就出门了，7分钟，哎，这立场可以隔吗？不隔。啊，有，一样是打多线。这个有没有攻防？一攻狂战士，然后正面要推，那Elaser这边是全部都拉回去了。冷静找机会哦。哎，人静要，哎呦，人静不能掉，好，立场隔一下，这边吃一点蟑螂。哎，其实说实在，我觉得这个情况下，我会觉得重组比较有机会。3只不朽者在打，3只不朽者在输出，有没有人进？没有人进，直接捋扣。你看，这一波对不对？一般来说，重组应该是要守是蛮不难啊，因为你那些狂战士输出其实蛮低的，就3只不朽而已。然后以前是很强，是因为没有结尾兽，现在有结尾兽的情况下。你立场被结尾兽的那个酸石题炸一炸，你哨兵很快就没魔。所以刚刚那个情势的那个情况在3矿那边，我是觉得神族要打不太容易。好，那这边只有2只结尾兽，那立场其实蛮多，这个地方虫族要硬打的话，我觉得不太好，可能要。这个地方我觉得这个口硬打，我觉得重组很难赚到，看他有没有后续，有没有继续暴毙。你看，其实黑石这边就是用一些狂战士换掉你的蟑螂，他并没有死到什么瓦斯。你看他的哨兵一只都没死，死了2只不朽，哨兵一只都没死。
Is drone up further and then throw down that Hydra then, right? Against this army, you really want to have Hydras because there is no Storm. There aren't even Archons in the mix as well. No Disruptors either. This is an
but has good transition.
升级2攻，
This is
losses.
哎呦 ，Eraser 这把是完全没升攻防的，那这样等等二攻会有点
Well, he
强
does
哦。
transition when he needs to sometimes. But
那这边开始多线了，右上角的矿有点危
he
险，
still didn't take the
这边
gases.
也要被
by the
推
way.。He's still on only 2 gases. That's crazy.
That's why, like just making
上面那个矿可能要掉哦，上面那个右上角的矿可能会掉，那个血太少，应该是会取消。
But I think Elaser has played kind of a stubborn game here, has been misreading it a little bit.
He went into a
然后
panic
冷静
mode.
多线，那 Eraser 这边也是有一些蟑螂去黑子家，但是黑子家里有光炮跟那个
Not a play.
哎，这些蟑螂完了，
Oh,
出事了，出事了，出事
And
了。
that's exactly what he does.
这个 Eraser 刚刚在看家里啦，哎，没有，他家里这边也在发呆，他刚刚应该是有看到人进吧，我不知道，反正他刚刚画面不在正面。哇，这波亏死，这波刚刚死了大概七八只结尾兽吧，亏死。
Yeah, some really good micro as well from Haas, pulling back from this cozy pile. And the great thing
不
about
补瓦斯，你说黑死吗？因为他就是要打这个啊，他就是要打这个狂战士加不朽这个组合。
Charging forward and killing units. The third base about to die now. Elaser being overwhelmed by the Taiwanese Protoss. Just on points this whole series.
Haas has done a phenomenal job in this game to play.
然后那个时期，对不对？18年那个时候的
Any given moment,
那个正面，对不对？不会有人进，因为
still a little bit out of position.
因为那个时候的人进没有办法远距离上下，他这个时间点的人进是只能飞到他上面再起来的样子。我印象中啊，18年的时候还不能远距离上下，所以那时候还没有那个人进跟着部队跑的这个习惯，后来才有
Drew。his hair back and with it a whole lot of skill here.
我觉得 Eraser 这边这一场最大的失误就是刚刚那个结尾兽，他没有注意到人家就在他脸上，然后立场隔了一下把他吃光，那个超亏。
read this as a bigger attack that was supposed to come a lot earlier, right? That's why he started making those roaches at 41 drones. And then at one point he's like, shall I drone up a tiny bit? But he was very indecisive about when to produce those units.
And I think the mind game here was that he didn't take the gases on the expo. Everybody would take it even as a fake.
Yes.
But Haas didn't take them at all. And he started +1 and made more probes. Which is something really smart that nobody ever really does, I feel like.
And then the craziest thing about that game is that Elaser did have a lot of roaches, but when that multi-prong attack did came, Has still got
后面还有吗？我看
drones,
看
so obviously it was
他们是
still
打波三还是
successful.
波五啊？
A surprising result to say the least to kick off group stage.
哦，他都已经收了，所以是波三了，都收包包了。
Those games.
哎，这个包包好眼熟，我好像有一个。
What a series there out of Haas bringing.
这个是刚刚的 highlight， highlight 好像
Perhaps a little more than we expected. Maynard, nothing status confirmed, unconfirmed.
What status again?
Nothing.
你看那时候应该是没办法远距离上下，
That was something for sure.
不然的话，刚刚那个不朽可能会往人进走，然后再下来。 收很快，没有，一定要收很快，因为下一场的选手要等着他们收完才可以上去 setting， 所以他们要赶快收。
Just saying how good Haas is, saying that his Korean MMR is really, really high, that he is probably
我们跳着看下一场。
not like a top 20 player worldwide.
这边是应该是在讲刚刚那个，哎呦，这是别场。哎，等一下，这啥？哦 ，DNA 是打这另外一个，这个我们就不看了。我们接着看那个，看他下一场。
I haven't seen this interaction.
好，然后下一场是打Special 这场超危险。Special 这场，哎，你阿妈嘞！Special 这场没有 VOD 啊，完了。 那这场看不到了，我们只知道他的比数是2-1。哎，没有 VOD 吗？我怎么觉得台湾的转播好像有啊？我印象中台湾好像有转这场，因为我有看，该不会是我转的吧？你们想看这场吗？想看的话，我找找看好了。没有吗？没转这场吗？ 我看一下有没有，说不定有。哇， 好像只有，好像真的没有，因为我上网看也没有相关的，感觉可能没有，我找找。对啊，我上也是在国外找 VOD，之后找到 SBS Special 逛低2017瓦伦西亚2018，好像真的没有，我查了一下，这个不知道是不是2017的。4年前是2018，我看一下这场是不是？等一下。
So the dream for Phoenix out in the open, but Cyclone ages ago. But Special just keeping it back constantly. Go back to that moment here real quick. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
我好像找到了，
That's just
等一下我看一下。
in this game. Out front is fucking base. And look at this, the probe, the SCV reaction, the adept shade.
可是他那个好像是看那个他好像是看那个 replay 的，他不是现场，他是看 replay 的。
Not sure if that was a purposeful target fire or just fortuitous.
对啊，这好像是 replay。怎么样？要看这场吗？这看起来不像是直播，是 replay 的样子。看一下吧。
If you guys were just coming in on this one, this is the winners match of Group Stage 3, Group H. I don't know. I just chose a random line. I think it's Group H or something like that, maybe G.
好，那这个是瓦伦西亚那个32强小组赛啊，那个黑石对上 Special。这场的话是谁赢的谁就晋级。
Did a cheeky cannon rush, had like a 6 Stargate follow up, followed by a Robo to get out of Mortals to wreck the Ravager Queen bust that a laser tried to counter with. It was brutal. It was good. And then he did his classic Haas PVZ build, the 3 mineral lines, 2.
那这张是15招领哦，黑石看起来又要光炮了，你看他拉了2只龙。
Beautiful build.
然后这个光炮我应该在前几天直播有讲过，对，打人类的话，人类要守光炮，他的那个他只要那个碉堡啊，放那个陆战队能够扫到斜坡的那个边边，其实就能守了。那我们看一下Special这场守的怎么样？这场会没有。
Unless you hide
好，这边是水晶塔盖了。
Oh no, Special's probably hasn't played against this since he was in Masters League, man. He's like, no, dude, I'm in rank 10 GM on the Korean ladder. Like I don't. Oh, and this is a fake probe scout. Look at this.
有本事放招进嘉年华，然后就放招进嘉年华，好，给人光炮。好，公平拉没有办法，公平拉绝对不是守这个战术的方法。
Oh my god.
再卡一个，哦，有，哇，可是对盖不起来，盖起来，盖起来，这个人类亏死啊！这人类亏死了，跳了吧，亏死了。这个是可以开视野，这个是可以开视野打那个补给站的，可以啦，可以。完了，黑神当时应该是觉得不行，其实应该是可以的，他可以开一个小视野，然后就打到那个补给站，对吗？哎呀，天天在盖的。
He's doing this now, but this Marine on the left-hand side is going to shoo that probe away. Probe's going to have to wait to regen its shields, and that's going to be the end of this rush for now. He has fucked up Special's build. He wasted a lot of mining time. The orbital still has not started.
那这样的话，黑石这把对不对？就是他有一个小失误，应该是另外一只工兵上去的时候没有把水晶塔盖到。他那场上面如果水晶塔盖到，他就不需要这样开视野。
He's kind of in a really bad position economically because he doesn't have the orbital or a command center started. It's not.
我跟你讲，这地方可以暂停一下。他这边不是有一个补给那个碉堡吗？其实我刚刚讲那个碉堡对，就是你盖在大概我滑鼠这个上面这个地方，再上去一点点，其实都可以。然后你让你的陆战队能够住进去，对，你的射程就会射到这个边边。那这样的话，那个上面的那个接力光炮就盖不起来了。有2个陆战队、3个陆战队在那边射，那个光炮就盖不起来。
But I mean, if Haas's one goal in playing someone who's usually considered way better than him, someone like Special, Haas's goal is to fuck the game up, and that's exactly what he's done here. That probe finally goes down, lets the cannon get one more shot off. That's a very fast starport. Special, you got to get that orbital going, dude. Finally does get the orbital going. Now, on the plus side, he's got an incredibly fast factory and a starport, and I think he's just going to counter with a Hellion drop. Not a bad choice, not a bad choice. Of course, it's going to be very hard for Haas, whose Cybercore isn't even finished to defend something like that. But you know what? Haas is just macroing for now. He's got an expansion up. He's building more pylons. Probably going to just build a few stalkers and defend from there. His first Hellion is going to go scout. I like this choice.
话说我这样子播他的这个会不会有版权问题啊？我不太确定。
That's going to allow him to do that. That mule, finally, the first mule drops and is like, all right, boys, let me show you how the mining is done. And a Cyclone drop. Okay, yeah, Medevac and a Cyclone. Good choice. Hellion comes over, says, okay, yep.
用下放广告挡住他的头。
Special has to either decide to commit to a one base all in to punish Haas expanding.
好，那不然把挡住是吧？我用什么东西挡啊？只好放这个了，怎么样？笑死！靠北。好，那这边是要接力空投，但是因为有四追力这边输出哦，哇，这个凤凰。这个凤凰原本可能会死追猎的、哦，哇，只有死凤凰。好，那这样的话应该是一只都打不死了，再走了。哇，这波又是一波大赚。那我们看人口的话，现在还是小幅优势啊，但是人类的2矿才刚盖而已哦，所以你看神族的2矿已经营运了啊，人类才2矿才刚盖。那刚刚这一波压制没赚到东西的话，人类就亏死了，因为它毕竟是慢2矿，它是先科技过来压制，然后才开矿嘛，所以。通常这一波过来，你要杀个大概要8只，我觉得要有8只农的那个价值，不管是兵啊还是工兵，就是你要杀到可能400-500块回来，你才会有打平哦，才有打平。好，那这边也是正面推，让正面那个人类这边没办法推进啊。那后面有个解放者，这边也看到，哎呦，这边是拉走，一只农都没死，哇，拉很快。对，12只，11只追猎，那这样解放者这样架还是赚了，他这样架还是一样有赚到，杀1只追猎跟2只工兵哦。哎，这场我没看过，是吧？就算有看过也忘了，太久了，这4年前的事情了。射程好短，没有啊，新版的它有改过吗？飞弹车的射程有改过吗？这我不知道，它有改过吗？我一直以为是没动过的，不都是这个射程吗？那时候的围巾，我记得打机械还没有加成，那时候啊，不能锁定的飞弹车，好像是这好像是那个伤害很高不能锁定的飞弹车好像是我都忘了。 没有飞弹车有改过说他没有办法，他的对空伤害很低，他有一个版本是对空伤害很低，然后那个对地伤害超强的，这看起来有很低吗？这看起来很痛那个看起来很痛好吗？刚刚那轻甲，如果是重甲，直接人就没了。可以锁啦，只是我跟你讲，高手对决，应该说他们这个阶级的那个飞弹车的那个自动会关掉，它不会开自动啊，它会把自动关掉，然后自己手动锁。你如果没有关掉，对不对？它会锁一些很奇怪的东西啊，譬如说像什么工兵啊，你知道吗？像我在打天地的时候，我对手就很常会锁到我工兵。你看他这个是那个啦，这个是对地很强的版本啊。他这个这个飞弹车对空是没吃饭的，他刚那个感觉好像真的打比较少，然后那个对地的那个射的很快嘛，就是那个对地很强的版本。好，黑子这边闪追要好了，带立场。你对手机，我是高手，哇，三小，这中文吗？好，看起来是要直接打死这个。闪，这时候黑石的状态就是应该他人生巅峰啊。说到吕布，那 Innovation 也去当兵了，他不知道到时候出来会不会打，搞不好他到时候退伍就不打了。这不能跳，不要冲动。也不是手残啊，应该就练的少了，不像这时候在打这个比赛的时候，黑石是很认真练习的。哇，其实这样看起来是很纠结。这个神族这个兵，其实你不操作的情况下是打不赢人类的。也就是说，你只要一个不小心，那个追猎跟人类这样硬扛是打不赢的。你一定要用操作去慢慢磨人类。他这个也不是兵量问题了，他的兵的质量应该是比对方高的，但问题是追猎质量高，但是打不赢打真的掠夺者，打真的掠夺者的质量比追猎低，它比较便宜嘛，它质量稍微低一点，但是单挑的话，掠夺者打得赢追猎。这狂战士阿北狂战士，阿北狂战士没有用啊，他就肉盾而已。其实黑石这时候有提速狂阴影的，你知道吗？这时候提速狂已经，如果假设这时候好了，冲上去就直接碾平了。刚刚是一度是4矿打2矿，是他那个 special 的那个 special 的3矿才刚运营而已。 要地雷。好，提速管好了，提速管好了，这边黑子开始多线了。那追猎是往上走，那有那个感应塔在啦，所以他也知道黑子的动向。这边好像想要用凤凰引哦。追猎狂战士纯 BG 兵用经济压，对，这种打法就是用经济去压人类。然后狂战士当肉盾嘛，然后用追猎输出，因为追猎其实输出也蛮高，他就是怎么讲呢？他太脆了，他被掠夺者打太痛了。但是掠夺者打在狂战士上面的话，效率比较差嘛，因为狂战士轻甲，掠夺者打重甲有加成，所以就是用狂战士当肉盾的情况下，追猎就可以输出很久。但你如果没有提速狂，只有追猎的话，他被掠夺者打就太烂了。那这个打法就是打经济差距。哇，这电烂欸，几乎每一下都很结实的电到 ，GG。来，我们跳下一场。哇，这连续讲喉咙有点痛啊，大家可能要稍微 QK 一下下。来，这第二场，这张图是Dream Match，Dreamcatcher，这张图叫什么去了？我也忘了。捕梦网，对，哇，你都记得啊，好扯哦。这张图我当时不知道有没有变掉。感觉这张图我当时应该有变掉，我对他好没印象啊。话说今天去那个面包店，我买那个喜饼凤梨酥。凤梨酥不是有另外一种那种凤梨，不知道是化学凤梨的，那个喜饼凤梨酥，哇，以前超爱吃的。我当时觉得这张是烂图吗？我不确定但是这张图我没什么印象，我有打，所以我应该是变掉了。这张图本身我是有印象的，但是这张图的那个哪里的细节什么的我没有那么熟，所以我猜我应该是变掉了。哦，那是冬瓜哦，哇，你冬瓜系的是吧？所以那应该叫冬瓜酥吧？怎么会叫凤梨酥？哦，也 VS 哦，这个是黑石当时超爱打人类的一个战术，也 VS。然后他出的是什么啊？他出的好像是先知吗？太阳饼里面没太阳也叫太阳饼，确实。好，这边是先知。乍看之下还以为是凤凰，想说出凤凰这冲下来做就好，也在外面干嘛？这样看起来不太妙这个看起来被发现了，然后话说黑石这个流程对，他的 VS 会比较早盖，就是他的应该说他的 BG 会比较早盖。就是一般来说，我们都是14人口盖水晶塔嘛，他可能12人口盖，但我刚刚没有仔细看他这场的流程是不是长那个样子。你看他3分10秒，你们有注意到吗？ 3分10秒就进来了。一般来说，你野 VS 对不对？也是3分40秒，或是3分半这种时间，但他是3分10秒就进来，也就是说，他这场应该是12人口放兵营，放水晶塔，然后12人口还是13人口放兵营的，应该是这种很极限的流程，而不是一般那种我们14人口放水晶塔那种流程。不然他的先知不可能3分10秒就到了，太快了。哦，只出一只吗？他好像只出一只。那这个不知道什么科技，这是兵营吗？看不出来。哦，4个兵营，走闪追，然后那个黑石在右上角那边开了一个矿，那边应该是黄金矿。看来那时候的 meta 就是出飞弹车，因为那时候飞弹车很强，进那个对地很强，所以那时候你看，你随便有2场都出飞弹车。其实我觉得黑石盖那个黄金矿是没办法，这种办法，就是毕竟他这个野 VS 已经算是失败了。哇，好烂哦，这个对空超烂的，这么多只打这么多下才把他打死，这时候的对空真蛮难。完了，看到黄金矿了，那就没救了，没救了吗？这我看起来是人类会赢他居然退了，你不觉得人类会赢吗？可是他对空伤害下降的是飞得掉的，哇，这真的很痛我记得他那时候那时候飞弹车应该是射速很快，然后伤害不高，有点像是他可能1秒钟可以射，假设他1秒钟可以射4下，但每一下伤害只有5滴，大概这种感觉吧，很密集的伤害，但是伤害不高，所以你如果升防御升高的话，对飞弹车能够有效克制。有一点小飞机的感觉，有一点。哇，这个火车致命哦！这张地图会很大吗？我觉得，有点大，比现在的图来说啦，因为它的2矿是往后的嘛，现在的地图有很多那个2矿是反而是有点往前的。点得掉啊，点掉，但点掉好像帮助没有特别大，再盖就好。好，那黑子这边又开了一个矿，那个矿还是黄金矿吗？我不确定我不确定那个右上角第2个矿是黄金矿，对吧？刚刚打掉那个盾牌跟打针，可以把人类在家里再拖起码3分钟吗？所以右上角2个都是黄金矿我都忘了。你看那个飞弹车射很快，对，但是感觉伤害没有很高，对。不是说没有伤害没有很高，是说那个扣，不是太铁头吧？这个黑石是没有闪追，有，不对啊，那他刚刚为什么不闪？我可以暂停一下吗？我这边有点不解。 我觉得这边太奇怪了，他这样子，他为什么这边不闪啊？哎，这样子是很大失误哎！你们看这边，他有闪追，可是他刚刚都不闪哎。没有，家里没怎样啊，家里没事啊。你看，我说的不是这里，等一下哦。等下有个地方，我觉得他怪怪，就差不多这个时候吧。难道这些都 CD 吗？这些都 CD 吗？这些都 CD 吗？不可能吧！我觉得是能闪的、欸，说实在是能闪的。你那一发子弹射出去了，你可以选择不要用退的，你可以选择用闪的退啊。但是这个就是要去做这件事情，就我是觉得是做得到的，不是做不到的。你想硬点他那一个飞弹车，那可是你为了点他，你死2-3追猎一点都不赚。你1换1我觉得可以，但是2换1我都觉得亏。我觉得只是他单纯那时候就是脑子想着要点他的飞弹车，要给他死，然后没有控好。我觉得是没控好的部分，这个地方我觉得是我觉得是失误，就是操作没有操作好。你看啊，这时候就可以啊，刚刚就不行，现在不就可以了？它上面也没视野啊。对，其实那个视野没有你们想那么小了。那现在黑石的策略对不对？就是压你，然后有点像是我用资源跟你换，你死兵没关系，我也死兵没关系，反正就是跟你换兵，反正我2个黄金矿，我3个矿打你2个矿，我只要确定你没有外面没有偷矿，我帮你换到没钱，你剩1个矿，我有2个矿，我还是赢你那种感觉。好，要出门了。提速狂好了，提速狂好了。哎呦，这波空投是有点强啊。笑死！一船兵毁灭世界，会不会等下一回救，然后这个他就直接再走，然后那个黄金矿就炸了？哦，点掉了，黄金矿会炸哦。我觉得海斯不会那样想、欸，他如果当时这个想法，不好说。干，我觉得他搞不好真的是就像那个 PP 说的那样，他搞不好当时真的那样想。但我觉得应该不会啊，世界赛、有那时候有铝扣，但是他应该没能有他可能那个城没有能量，他可能主宝那个主矿的能量是没的，因为我印象中当时的基地，你如果全部编在一起放加速的话，会从第一个排序的把它放完，所以你的主宝会先没磨。我不确定是不是这样子，但我印象中当时在玩的时候，很容易其中一个主宝没加速。没能量了，然后其他的那个能量很满，会有这个问题，所以我在想，可能是它编在一起，然后加速用掉了，所以主宝没能量铝扣，我猜是这样子、啊。满的吗？那我就不知道了。现在不会的原因是因为，搞不好现在也会哦，我不确定，我现在玩的没那么多了，所以这件事我不敢下定论，有可能我搞错。好啦，炸啦，3矿已经营运了，然后主矿黄金矿都爆了。 那这边黑石，你看黑石还是有做一些细节，用狂战士对去看有没有雷。你看到没有？他让前面的狂战士先冲过去以后，对拉回来，然后留几只狂战士在原地给他炸，炸完以后，然后再全部一起上。他会做这个细节。哎，上一把，下一把。第3场。好，第3张地图是这个，这就是叫什么平台的 ？ACIDPOANT， 好熟哦，忘记叫什么名字了。好，第3场，强酸工厂吗？哦。好，那看黑的这场有没有什么战术啊？哦，我觉得又是野 VS 哦，或者是野 VR 有可能。那个时候野 VR 跟野 VS 都是会用的战术，那个时间点。看他演什么啦，因为这个位置 VS VR 都有可能，这个位置都有可能。好，有卡瓦斯，之前那个黑石有段时间对，只要瓦斯盖到，那个人类都挡不太住了。那瓦斯盖到以后，变成你那个围巾出的速度会变慢嘛？你那个不朽超强，哎，真的是 VR， 所以应该是不朽。而且好像没看到，现在人类好像是不知道。那这样的话，不朽过去对不对？因为人类的瓦斯被卡了，所以他的围巾出来速度会慢，这样会很难守。好，侦查到。你们应该在想说，为什么守不朽要出围巾，对吧？是不是觉得很奇怪？为什么守不朽要出围巾？有人知道为什么吗？有人知道为什么守不朽是要出围巾吗？为什么会说围巾速度慢会守不住不朽？冷静啊，对，因为不朽那个强是强在那个冷静会让他的不朽一直续命嘛，所以你应该是要出围巾，让他的冷静没办法那么嚣张。然后还有就是你瓦斯慢的话，对你的科技都慢，你如果单纯的只有陆战队的话是很难守的。他这个打法对不对？其实第一波过去没有那个人境，好像也能打，看他怎么做。我印象中这个打法好像还要补3个兵营，就是还是要补兵营的。你人境过去的时候还可以，如果说对方没发现，你可以直接在人家上面有那个不朽，然后搭配那个 BG 的兵。取消啊！下面还盖电池，太硬了吧？哎，他用那个教室开眼，真的很屌哎！一般来说会用那个 OB 开眼嘛，他直接用那个教室的幻象来开眼。啊，这边失误了，笑死！那这边2个补给站打掉的话，人类会卡人口，然后下面有那个电池在哦。我觉得这把人类凶多吉少了。你看他那个，他这样子，哦，我跟你讲，这场也跟危机没什么关系。这场人那个电池不朽，有还是有围巾，还是有围巾，还是有那个还是有人进的。那这样子基本上丢下来补血吧。 这个等等找个角度进去把坦克硬点。哎，他不丢下来不朽，但那他有一只不朽者没护盾呢。好，硬点了，白了，他还收，笑死！他还收，太惨了吧？那时候 Special 本人应该是脏话都骂出来了。好，围巾出来了，要打啊。你看那围巾是可以追着他打，你知道吗？他可以这样一直 A， 我就一直射。好，这个上去点吧。这个坦克架的位置刚好射得到。哎，可以啊！哎，这个人镜是可以远距离上下的啦，可以啦，这时候可以了。我还以为不行呢，这时候已经可以了。对啊，10.9是那个胖胖的，不过那个10.9他瘦身有成。现在10.9比那时候起码瘦了50公斤吧。很奶啊！好，所以这个最后黑石是2-1打赢 Special， 那就晋级到16强了。这时候原本是光 F 32强，后来就进到16强的那个这边好像是单败淘汰吧？我看这个好像没有败部的赛程表。哦，那这边开始就是你知道吗？他每一场都是惊险晋级的。你最好是我胖那么多哦。啊，让我休息一下，连讲了2个 BOSS 3了。
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Nathanius, joined on the desk by Todd, and in control, 2 Protoss players here to break down the finer arts and variety of cheddar that we may see here. Now, in control, would you describe Haas as a player who's bringing more of a medium or a
哇，看到这个
could be a white or yellow cheddar?
你们知道右边那位这个主播后来好像是心肌梗塞还是干嘛？就是他这一位。在大概2-3年前的时候过世了。然后那个暴雪那边有做了一个就是帮他做了一个他的那个语音包吧。
I'm disgusted. Todd, tell me something else.
No, like it's a great matchup. I think Haas is extremely unpredictable. But in the same kind of way, we know he's going to be playing very aggressive. We know that cannon rushes are a possibility. What I can tell you is that he beat Special previously in the tournaments. He lost game 1. In game 2, he went for a cannon rush, which was defended. But keep in mind, he does these builds all the time on ladder. So from there, he knows how to transition. Special does not. Special thought he could go for one base. Has defended, won that second game. And then he won the third game with a proxy robo, which I think we could definitely be seeing coming out here because we're in the best of 5. So
出语音包怎么可能？不可能好吗？
proxy robo and God knows what else in this
Void Ray
best of 5.
shield battery.
Do you think it hurts Kellizer that he doesn't actually play all that much on the America ladder because you hit these types of players a little bit more in control?
No, I mean, listen, there's cheesers on that European ladder. There's
好，那这一场是
no matter how
Kelliger
and that's another cheese reference there, by the way.
对上的是
It's gonna be
Haas。
Has that has all the experience, like Todd just talked about, that post weirdness where you're kind of like, okay, I survived it, but what do I do from here? It's going to be Has that has hundreds of games under his belt, knowing what to do, and it's going to be Callizer who's like, I've played.
哦，这是上次那个黑石的比赛。
Has thrives in chaos. I feel like so many players, they will plan out a cannon rush like this, and then after it
that
works.
Spot on that map can be tough for Kevin as well. I've seen that.
I think a lot of players, they wouldn't know where they stand at. Not Has, like even that whole hold there, he knew the whole time exactly how to play it, how to defend, and then he was just so successful in his previous series against
购买魔兽世界12个月订阅来获得大量的好康与物品吧。
I really feel like there's a lot of brilliance to what Has does. He does not get the credit he deserves just because it looks like funny and cheesy and all that. But he's super smart.
Hasn't been a whole lot of respect for Haas coming out of our guests on the desk. But
not enough, except Artosis, who's giving him too much respect and saying he's going to get round of 4. So we're going to find
calling for a very specific level of respect. It's not up here, it's not down here, it's somewhere in the middle, okay?
well,
Actually,
you think he's going to lose or win?
That describes exactly how playing against him feels like. No, really. Here is like the right reaction, which you will.
因为我想让红休息一下，所以现在在听他们打比赛。这样需要西西字幕吗？这样听看懂吗
？Too good for StarCraft broadcast.
And I think he's going to win the series.
I'm going to need you to break it down a little bit less.
No, Todd did it perfectly.
Yeah, so
the analysis.
That is.
Don't go up higher. Don't go lower.
这样可以吧？
Okay. With tasteless,
这个你再不行，我也不行了。
short game or a middle
It might be hard to tell.
Curdle the blood of the fans out there with these breakdowns, Jeff.
让球员的血液凝固。我靠！
Higher and lower, so.
That's true.
Well, they say that the pressure of
I could see him just fine.
the pressure of a host also helps develop some cheese down there. So we're doing.
If you would have hit that up with a
我靠！比赛之前在聊奶酪，算了吧，
It's actually just a.
可以不要聊奶酪了。
We're all just running on cheese wheels over here.
你要用另外一个奶酪类来解
Do we have
决。
expectations for Kalazer then?
他的意思是说，你遇到大招，对不对？你要用另外一个大招来解决它，不然的话你是没办法赢的。
There's a very interesting dynamic around. Has used some of his best builds against Special already. Special comes from the same region as Kalajor. Maybe they talked.
They're friends, yeah.
Does Has take that in consideration and then completely react to that and anticipate? Yeah, this is like the meta in the meta, the dream within the dream. Will end up in limbo like in Inception. And who
好了，
knows?
看来他们也是干话讲蛮多的。
I've had my own, not inception, but obsession with Haz, because he's been around in the WCS system for a while. My favorite part about him is you will see the most animated reactions from his opponents, but then the camera to Haz, and it's just like this straight, just slag of a face, no emotion, just like...
No motion.
And the other guy's just like, what is going on? And he's over here like, just get out, nerd.
Well, the only other person I want to ask what's going on is Smix up on the stage as we have our two.
这样子可以吧？哎，翻中文以后是不是有趣多了？
The cheese up there, Smix.
Oh, wow.
I do, and I love cheese. I'm so excited that we've saved.
来吧。
Catalyst in the top left, our Protoss from Taiwan. It is Haas.
The mad Protoss himself. And of course that means that in the right bottom side of Catalyst, we're looking at the main base of our Brazilian Terran player. Valencia, make some noise for Kalazur.
Kalazur, make some noise.
Now, I gotta say, Rotterdam, I have become.
好，这边开始就是波舞了。
As you all back here have known and teased me about, but let me run. First off, he's getting double gas, so we're seeing a cheese game 1.
Is it going to be a Stargate, you think, or maybe a second gateway as well, where he's just going to try to cancel the CC? Because I'm going to tell you, before I let you finish, that I don't think Kalazur is going to expand on the low ground.
我怎么印象中这个 Kalazur 打黑石5场都没开2矿啊？我不确定，我有没有记错？
Don't get me wrong, but I think he builds the CC on the high ground because that's just simply a lot safer against somebody with the image of Has.
Yeah, I mean it's a fair thing to say. Oh my God, he even takes.
哦，他开上面。
And you had a right call there, making that command center on the high ground. What will it be?
Yes, if he saw, yes, he saw both assimilators, and now he's
going
to use the robo as well. Now the fact that Has stole one of those gases, that's complicated quite a bit, right?
理论上，如果 Special 没有跟 Kalazur 交流的话，对他应该不知道黑石这样打。那个时候应该没有旅 play 放出来。哎，我不确定哎，反正这场被侦查到了。
You want to finish the story real quick? Why are you such a fan of Has? Give us the TLDR.
I tell you right now, I can't even say anything. We gotta just watch this part. He is a badass though right now, Kevin. He has been taking series and maps.
啊，这边等等有电池，奶这个水塔是没有问题。
against Kelliger.
This is nice as well. That battery could have potentially saved the
不朽
pylon, but it's not even necessary at this point. Now there we already have a pylon going down in the natural as well, so we're expecting a lot more shield batteries.
前期不错，这边杀了一支工兵，又杀了一个陆战队哦。 家里应该有个电池哦，没电池 ，Oh my god！ 那这样家里哦有一个教室。
Definitely does make it pretty hard to stop. And look, with immortals on the way, I just
啊，
wonder
是啊
if
是
he's
啊
going to get the，
教室
prisms,
那个没有
immortals,
飘慢了。
harassment up. It's going to be so ridiculously hard to kill a Warp Prism Immortal. And look at this, a shield battery.
这边看起来应该也是要电池不朽。 这边不知道是不是要出坦克来守哦，对，坦克来守，然后拉个距离。
If he gets a marine count of 7, 8, 9, then I actually believe you can deal with these kind of proto shenanigans. I love what Has is doing. He was using the shade for high ground vision, but you need to micro a little bit better, Has.
A big
哇
mistake there.
刚刚是有点失误了，因为他说实在，他可以用那个幻象去开视野，他不需要用那个教室去硬扛。
I don't understand. If I'm Has, I cannot be bothered with this Reaper. I warp in a shield battery on my main mineral line, and I forget about this.
Well, I don't disagree with you. I feel like that would be a good call from him.
哇，目前看起来守的蛮好的。这个我如果今天是神主，我已经觉得我打不下了。但是等等还有人进啊，看人进发挥怎么样。好，这坦克应该可以点掉。 你看比赛比神主喜欢野，你刚好看到的都是那几个爱野的。 飞弹车打不赢吧？飞弹车打不朽。哇，太凶了，太凶了！哇哇哇哇哇哇哇！这个太秀了吧！这太秀了吧！
And this is just brutal. Has showing why he deserves our respect.
And the NA ladder is taking notes right now. Good luck, have fun facing this one on the ladder in the upcoming.
飞弹车可以操作。那个时候的飞弹车射程那么短，你要怎么操作啊？
Getting the first tank is fantastic. Getting the second one, you have to say that almost seals the deal, right?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, there's a bunker here, but Has just microing.
那时候的飞弹车射程好像是4吧，还是3？好像是4哦。当时电池不能加速，不行。锁定超出不朽射程，但你要锁到啊！你在锁到之前，你会先被不朽打4下。所以你要有很多的才有办法锁到，而且锁到它还有电池可以拿。
Maybe you got supply blocked. Yeah, that looks like what it was, but the shield batteries kept it alive regardless.
哎，林奇峰，
The tank is actually getting a couple of shots off.
这是练奇吗？感谢加入会员。
Kelazur is going to reposition his buildings. Don't forget, guys. Kelazur is still in a fantastic economic.
那主要是前面的2个坦克死了，结果2个死了以后，变成后面坦克续不起来。
He's really chasing that tank so hard right now. Keeps the prism alive, very important. Of course, there's no stim or anything, so if he keeps the prism in front of the Marines, he can get away.
Starport is on the way right now. Now, obviously, that means that time goes by. Every second that goes by, you could say, is on Kelazur's side. He's up 20 workers. That means he can leave 6, 7, 8 SCVs just here. Oh, sieging up that tank is so risky.
好，强点吧，强点吧。
Yeah, he's gonna be able to target it down once again. Heals up.
然后把没血的载起来，然后去拿一下。结束了。
Recharges the shields. He just punches forward once again. Another bunker falls.
There's no army left for Kelazur. I mean, there is a tank in production. That is mass repair if I've ever seen one. That's a ridiculous amount of SCVs. That single tank is going to be the saving grace of Kelazur for now.
太多工兵了。
Immortals. I mean, has to be careful. He did lose a lot of HP on those bad boys.
And he actually did lose one immortal there as well. So definitely a clutch kill there for that siege tank. I mean, anytime there's any mistake here from Kelazur, it Has all over it.
That Viking is on the way, by the way. That first starport is producing a Viking now. That makes things a little bit better.
到这边已经没救了啦。其实我觉得还是要围巾啊，围巾早点做出来，那个人进就没有办法那么嚣张。
In a safer position, or the first one, obviously. That means that the Prism really has to commit. That Viking is very. Oh, I love that he unsieged the tank. That's so smart.
Yeah, really it is. And Looks like he saves this bunker as well. So important, but there's some adepts that were just made. I mean, Haas knows best, but I'm just wondering if something like a force field would help here, stop that repair, because that keeps saving him.
I mean, what does he want to do? I don't think Haas is truly familiar with what he wants to do now. He's probably like, hey, this is supposed to be over. When I have 4 Immortals, a Prism, I'm supposed to take care of all the tanks. That Prism is in a world.
哎呦，想点人进，早就该点了，好吗？要早点把人进打掉，不就长这个样子了？哎，等一下，我觉得有点怪。哎，我觉得有点怪哎。这人类赢了吧？
Kalazur did such an awesome job, by the way, in producing SCVs non-stop. Okay, don't kill your own SCVs, by the way. Because he had over 35 SCVs, and you could maybe think like, ah, that's way too many. But he really needed those all the time. So he wasn't actually losing income while he was mass repairing.
哎，我觉得这个是人类赢哎，这是神族赢吗？我觉得人类赢哎。
Are they hunting for the next prism, or are they going to kill all the probes?
I mean, I would prefer if it was going to hunt for the prism, but it seems like they're not going to do that. Okay, this is a little bit risky. Kalazur, you've done fantastic.
这个局势神族已经没机会啊！那个人进只要过去闹，就会被围巾射下来啊。那你剩下不朽没有人进的情况下，你又不肯打进去。然后人类有2个矿，神族没有矿，然后主矿剩8，剩下4颗水晶在踩。
This is important that he has these units at home because these will kill all your probes in a matter of seconds.
There's no battery here, though, so it's a little bit tough to micro that one Stalker against the Viking, but Haas is going to take care of this. Losing a few probes doesn't hurt too much because his main is going to dry up anyway, so...
That's true. And I don't think utilize those to their best of their ability.
And I don't think he has any plan of expanding. Now, this is obviously cute. There is no way that Haas has an answer against that drop. Does Kalazur have
守住啊！
I kind of think he does with those 2 bunkers.
守这个人进不朽，关键就是要有那个围巾啊。围巾把人进打掉。哎，等一下，他围巾飞到人家家，是他家里没围巾了，是这样。我是觉得人类优势啊，这个有2个矿，除非那个人类开不出2矿，除非他开不出2矿。哇，等一下，哎，这波很凶，因为他那个不朽可以。有电池，人就开视野，有电池啊！还有一台没有啦，神族看起来好像还是输了吗？输了，家里没了啦，家里没了。
Oh my goodness. But I mean, a few more Marines coming out as well. Everything got picked off in the main, so that means he still has the bunkers. Stim is going to finish up soon as well. Kalazur has no money to repair anymore. He's really starting to run out.
Oh my gosh, dropping some mules, but almost no mineral patches left over. Of course, nothing left for Haas. He doesn't even have a single.
很接近哎，然后人类杀有一个更智障的点，就是他只剩2颗矿啊。人类剩2颗矿啊。
The orbital is going to fly to the north side, so he could drop mules there, which I think is a very smart call. I mean, don't.
对，人类剩2颗矿，他没有办法踩啊。然后神族是完全没收入了。 你们怎么看？我觉得
with these shield batteries, there's a lot of fancy micro you can do this. War Prism definitely has a lot of utility to it.
Oh my god, this is clown fiesta.
Oh my god, it's a clown circus right now.
神族兵多，但是神族没钱啊。但是神族只要操作的好，对他有电池，他的兵也是无限在输出的。不是，重点是那个碉堡里面只有3支陆战队，你知道吗？
Yeah, but he can continue to harass.
这句再回来。
So from my part, you bring those Marines home. They have no purpose anymore. You kill the Nexus. You that's the observer.
对，至少平局没错，至少神族是不可能赢的。
You don't have the vision of exactly where everything is placed. That's important. If he stops his siege tank from being made, that's huge as well.
I think the tank is.
哎，他怎么？他把坦克弄出来。哇，还第一声站起来。哦。 好啦，人类至少不会输啦，因为神族没有钱做那个打空军的。失误了，这要死！哦呦，再走。
But back to the shield batteries. You think medevacs are good at healing? Not compared to these shield batteries.
Okay, but Haas is on the clock, and technically you can already say Haas can never win this game.
对啊，
Because
结
he
束
has
了。
no anti-air and buildings can
人类就算不开矿，所有的建筑飞到外太空也是平手。
The thing that Haas can hope for here is a draw, because he can never kill buildings that are over that terrain, and there is at least a little bit, like on the north side of the main of Kalazur. I think he can put a building in a safe spot, easily.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. He's looking for a draw at this point.
Yep.
There's no minerals left for Kelliger.
Artosis, you're a man of esports history. Have we ever had a day with 2 draws?
Absolutely not.
No, I don't believe that either.
Absolutely not. The last draw in WCS, I believe, was it Strange against Pole in Tour?
Yeah.
That is in 2016. Okay, so it has been years.
该不会平手吧？
Almost 0 draws in
大家都没钱。
But this can absolutely happen. He can just utilize shield batteries to continue.
没有啦，这个神族已经输了啦。
Repair eventually.
哎，对，人类也没钱哎。
Has a lot of tools to win this game.
Absolutely.
He's got Medevacs, he's got floating command centers,
Ooh, he's a Viking.
and he's got a Viking. So
That's so important.
I don't know. Okay.
哦
He gets all
哦
of damage, but not enough.
Not quite.
I mean, I don't really see how Haas can get the draw here, though, unless Kalazur truly messes up.
Well, I think it takes a while. But the shield batteries don't cost money for healing, okay? For repairing, SCVs cost money.
所有下去兵力下去开矿可是没碉堡哎。他看起来应该要这样做了，全部的东西再下去，然后硬开。
That's brilliant.
看起来他是要这样做。
You know me, Tosus. Come on, Tosus. Is it your first rodeo with me?
No, it's a really good point. If he just floats everything,
yeah. Like,
that's
forget about your depots.
Probably enough.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, you just slowly but steady unload everything to the low ground, and you go.
But to be fair, then you don't have a bunker anymore, right?
That's
and
true.
If you kill the siege tank, you can kill everything else, maybe.
He's got stim, though.
Yeah.
He's got stim. I do not believe that this army can ever deal with 13 Marines with stim. Unless
well,
you have
I mean, with 13 shield batteries.
Yeah, of course. No, if you fight near the batteries, anything is possible. But Kalazur, I think he's gonna.
现在啊，没有啦，神族没机会赢了啦。但是神族不想要让人类赢，懂吗？现在就是黑石这边就是我赢不了了，但是我不想要让你这场赢，我要拖到平手。 因为他神族人类已经不败之地了，神族就是想办法让这场变平手这样。哇哇哇哇哇哇哇哇哇哇哇哇哇哇哇哇哇哇！哎，不行不行不行，会死会死啊！好呆！886。
Oh, if he had thrown down a force field there, that would have been really helpful. Losing the immortal, like without the immortal.
Yeah.
With both of them, I still didn't think he was going to get the draw, but like with only one,
you can just pick everything up. And don't forget about the tank. And he does not forget about the tank.
刚刚黑蛇角度看不到那个不朽那个坦克的位置。没了没了没了，那个人进真的太压制这个打法。黑蛇这个不朽人进就是很怕这个围巾啊，围巾一直压着你的人进射，射久了受不了。我去拿咖啡。
Despite great defense, despite great play from Kelliger.
When he got not only the first, but he got the second tank as well, I'm like, oh my goodness, what do you do from this point, Kalazur? But I loved it, man. He kept his calm, and like I said, I love the fact he went up to 35, 36 SCVs. It sounds silly when you're being contained on one base, but I think that made all the difference in the world. Kalazur was never scrambling for money until the mineral patches were starting to run out.
Yeah.
And that is what always allowed him to get that mass repair going. A couple of times, man, those bunkers truly saved Kalazur here on Catalyst.
You're so true. You're so right about that, Rotterdam. But listen to this, okay? The next map is Redshift. If anyone in the world can beat Haas the first time they play him on Redshift, I'll give him $1 million. Okay, this map, this player, this tournament, he has to have something insane. And of course, it's his map choice, right?
Well, I think here once again, I mean, I think even on a redshift, if I'm
我自己是觉得守
CV scout, right?
守这种不朽者人进的这种，也在外面一波这种人，人类就是看到，你知道侦察到2个碉堡下去，然后要出坦克，我觉得飞弹车不好，我觉得坦克比较好。出坦克之后，对，架在那个2个碉堡中间，然后这时候赶快把围巾伸出一台，至少一台，这样子就很好守。
But this guy, Rotterdam, he's deadly. Okay, people talk a lot of trash, but he's 6.4K on Korea. That's top 35 on the ladder. He has
My main question now.
Yes.
Is that a barcode?
Of course it's a barcode.
Then it doesn't count.
Okay, fair enough, but it's still... Everyone uses SC2 unmasked. They just type it in.
Yeah, but before or after the game is a world of difference.
Yeah. Okay, so...
好，第二场。
Okay, but he has played the last 5 GSL qualifiers. He is almost beaten Innovation,
Yeah, he got good
Rogue,
victories.
Bunny. Like,
No, I agree
he's
with
legit,
you.
man.
I agree with you. We can't sleep on him. And that's why I like the analysis on the desk. You can't put him here, you can't put him here. He's somewhere in the middle, Tosis.
Yeah, well... Yeah, somewhere in the middle indeed. This man in the top left. It is Taiwan's Haas.
I love how big of a fan you are of Haas, Tosis. It makes me happy.
Well, we just watched the same game together, right?
No, that was awesome. Don't get me wrong. Entertainment value is always 10 out of 10. Don't get me wrong. This man had a fantastic hold in game number 1, spawning on the left bottom side of Redshift. It is the Brazilian Terran, Calazur. And what I love, Artos, is we often criticize players for this when they do it wrong, but sometimes in StarCraft, you want to play the player, don't play the matchup.
Yeah.
Don't play the same way like you would play against Zest as you would play against Haas, and then we clearly saw that they are coming out of Calazur.
这季是黑石最努力的一季，他认真打了1个月天梯，又研究不少战术。他这季为了这个比赛，就是很努力练习啊。那时候他好像天天开直播吧？
Does he have 2 gases at home?
他那时候有开直播吗？我不确定，但我是听其他选手说，他那时候天天都在练习。那时候好像6500多分吧？那时候的黑石6500多。
If he goes blink DT here on 1 base,
then what?
And he's not your
I
favorite
get $1 million.
Well?
Do I get $1 million, Tosis?
As long as you promise to double it for me, Roddy.
Tonight, actually.
Oh man, so the offensive gas once again. Haas getting ready for craziness. Is that an engineering bay immediately? Is Calazur a genius?
No, we'll see. I mean, Haas can actually take the gold, but
现在我不知道，没有联络。
I don't know. I still believe the gold is a trap on this map. It always seems like a good idea. You might think like, I'm gonna get a bunch of stalkers with blink, and then I'm gonna go double points and make 1 million zealots. But it never works out though. So it's a mineral line. Okay, it's a robo, so we'll see.
This is funny though.
怎么感觉每一场都在放招啊？他那时候就是那个放招超强啊。
Pretty scared right now, I would say.
Like, can you blame the man?
No.
那时候黑石还说这张图遇到重组，只要对方熏弄他黄金矿，他就必胜。他那时候这样讲。然后我在那个转播的时候也是把他吹上天啊，干他那场没有守住。他说这张图只要他开黄金矿，对方要弄他，他有50种以上把对方弄死的方法，吹得跟神一样。
But what happens after this? Is it gonna be a Twilight? Is it gonna be Fortress? Is it just 2 gateways?
他自己吹的，然后我就帮他这句话在直播上帮他吹出去，在转播的时候，就他输给我看。
They make 6 gateways, run to the other side of the map, and win with Sentry Immortal.
Oh yeah, no, I would love to see something like that. He's actually just making an observer though.
好，那这边是也，这个是真开矿啊，真开矿，然后也是BR，我觉得他应该还是一样要用不朽那招吧。我猜大概就是再过去，然后什么4BG、5BG 打一波那种，看看。
I mean, obviously, Haas also knows the image that he has, right? Like, he too can play to his image. Calazur clearly played the player in game 1. This is not, by the way, what you want to see when you open cloak benches. Like, oh, there's an observer in my main.
Yeah.
Well,
it's the last thing you expect from Haas too. The first thing that gets in your main base is an observer.
来了，哇，直接刷后面啊，然后再过去。
Okay, he cancels cloak, cancels the banshee. I like it. Scans.
哎，这从里面来太强了吧！这从里面来太强了吧！直接一个双矿人进5兵营。
Oh my goodness, that's 9 stalkers.
And he's got a gold base behind this, by the way.
是啊，直接战术博弈，直接战术击倒。哎，我觉得他这招现在也可以用哎，我觉得他这个战术现在不是有一张图，现在天地不是有一张图吗？ 也是内矿的，我觉得好像也可以这样玩。只是差别在他那个空投的第一时间会被阻止，这张图没办法阻止，但是现在天梯图是可以阻止的，但是我觉得可能会有类似的效果。我就可以开发一下战术。我觉得那张图用这个打法或许有用哦，打人类。对，我可还好，他看到瞭望塔是来不及的，你知道吗？就跟这场卡拉猪其实也有看到他的兵过来啊，他有看到啊，但也是来不及。
Yeah, I agree with you there. Maybe his energy's all really low. No. Not really.
What would you go here? Blink or charge?
看起来好像也不行。他如果有坦克，那如果是关心者那张图，黄金矿在下面太难守了。
I think both is totally fine, by the way.
Yeah.
He decides to go for blink, but I'm pretty damn sure we're gonna see.
这不是卡拉猪吗？你看他那个发音，卡拉猪卡拉猪耳。
Just picking off anything he can, taking a few tank shots though. So. I guess he's not really losing too much other than some health on his stalkers, and he is taking a third base.
You know what I think is really funny? I think both of these players thrive when they are the one being aggressive, right? Like, Haz is obviously a very fun player, he's a really good player, but what you don't want to see from Haz is where he has to defend 2 locations at once while he's executing an attack, because that's where things get ugly. You want to close your eyes, a lot of probes will go down. Kalazur in general is also a Terran that shines when he's just pumping out units and it's pedal to the metal, go, drops non-stop, follow it up, go up to 4 bases when Protoss is still on 3. That's Kalazur in his element. So right now this is a very uncomfortable position because this is not the type of game that Kalazur ever wants to play. He's like, why am I sitting here in the dark without stim, without any possibility of being aggressive, right?
目前已经是蛮优势的，刚刚那一波进去洗了一波农，让主矿没办法采集。
I think on the red shift, I do not disagree with you.
看这边黑是怎么打。
It's indeed Protoss that's going to deliver the first blow in general with all the shenanigans. But on
全部摘
another
下来。
map where, let's say, a dream catcher where you have a ramp going into the natural.
他看起来想要那个，他看起来想要全部丢到那个人类的2矿那边。哦，没有，他开3矿，打运营。
I believe with that medevac, he can already buy so much time for himself.
We certainly saw something like that in Game 1.
And I love that call, by the way, because often when you get all in, people worry about defense, but sometimes best defense is offense, man. And obviously a player like Haz, when you have 7 batteries and you're juggling Immortals through a prism, the last thing you ever want to do is warp in units at home, recall units to aim, micro probes at home. You don't want to be bothered with that kind of stuff, because you know you're on the clock. You need to make stuff happen fast. You don't want to deal with any aggression in your own main.
Yeah, it's well said, Roddy. And if Kelsier hadn't sent that out, 100% Haz would have won.
He's taking the gold of Kalazur.
Is he?
On the north side.
Are we serious about this? Yes! Yes!
What a man.
Haz, man. He is the player.
You know, double negative becomes a positive, right? I think the gold is a trap, but if you take 2 golds, it actually becomes a positive.
笑死，开将黄金矿，就这场不是放到死他原本应该是想要用那个2矿的人进士兵营，把对方有机会的话可以把对方打死，但是对方是有发现的，所以有坦克在那边架着的情况下，他没有硬上，就把对方的经济稍微打乱一点以后就开始打晕，杀超优的啊。而且他这个你们有没有印象？这张图他杀这个打法就是等等 BGB， 然后一大堆的闪追加提速狂，然后一直 A 那种。他其实现在黑石打星海也是这风格啊，他的风格就大概从2018那时候就有点定型到现在，就是那个思维都差不多，就是像现在他打人类也是开一堆矿，然后出追猎跟不求者，追猎跟好像是一直 A。
Somehow he's getting a bunch of stalkers with these moves.
Yeah, I don't know why Haz is actually fighting this. I feel like he should just run home.
He just got 5 stalkers for a couple of Marines.
You know what? This is probably the longest anyone has ever lived against Haz on Redshift. So I'm gonna give this one a pass for Haz. But the amount of zealots he has, charge is done. He's starting +2 armor. Like, I think he's still totally fine.
I would love to see Widow Mines, by the way, out of Kalazur, because Haz is pretty damn clear. This is really awkward timing on the double forge. He could have done this like, okay, that's a nice little pickup there. I feel he could have done this forge such a long time ago. At this point, you kind of would say like, hey, rush into Storm. He is
打
getting
成
off
枪兵
on
当
it,
然强啊
but。this is a composition that can still throw, by the way. Like Zealot, Archon, Stalker, it's great. Don't get me wrong, Immortus is all great.
啊，这群兵在这边，
That can really throw. If you run into a choke point,
你不觉得那群兵在那个瞭望塔那边很没有纪律
I
吗
feel？like what he needs to do is sit back and wait for the tanks to come out. Once
Yeah,
Killsure
of
does a
course.
full attack, if you attack, move it.
哎，我跟你讲，这波兵就是出来送的，
Has lost a lot of stalkers, but you're spot on. I mean, the Marine count is high, but it's not high.
这波兵就是出来送的。他等等那个三光一开
I，was like, how many
然后那些狂战士 A 上去，这些兵就化成灰了。
Dude, he has 132 army supply. That's
Yeah.
not even a number you're supposed to have in PvT, I feel like.
No.
Like, he has so few
再会了
probes for what he has, but he has 2 gold, so he can...
上了吧，上了吧，闪追跳一下。
A bit of might in the mix.
闪追不跳的话，后面狂战士会卡
These
住。
Marines are
你看后面
gonna
狂战
get
士有
on
些
top
卡
of the
住
tanks。as well. Immortals will
GG
connect with the tanks. GG has wins
1
on
比 1
Redshift.
All right. Well, kind of expected to see a Haas victory there on...
哎，当时黑是6500分哎，6500多哦，曾经上过6600的样子。
Rush. Oh, man. The scariest new Redshift strategy.
You know, and I can understand that a lot of people probably wonder why wouldn't Kalazura veto Redshift? That's because you also have to worry about a map like Darkness Sanctuary. Darkness Sanctuary cross-map for Terran is very difficult,
Yeah.
and above all, very
我们看第三场
scary against someone like Haas because he could proxy in a million different locations. No matter
哎，第三场很快，他们双方
SCV and the Reaper, you have no idea what
哦，我知道为什么，因为波
We'll
5，
talk about what cheese.
他们后面还有很多场要播，所以要打快一点，要赶快一点，不能让打比赛时间太长。
Up here in the top left, winning that last game on Redshift as he probably always does. It is Haas.
That is a very fast gateway, by the way. I think he just went for the pylon immediately and then dropped the gate immediately. Over here on the right bottom side, we're looking at the main base of the Terran. They had a fantastic 2017. He wants to make it to the global finals once again. It's Kalazur.
好，捕梦网，哈死。
I mean, there's a big range.
那个时候的6600，
Killsure building his command centers inside his base.
差不
Oh, look
多
at。that. A little bit of a hidden barracks, and he takes double
那时候6600，现在可能6500吧，6500、6400。我跟你讲，顶尖选手的分数不会差太
He's
多，
gonna build his factory. It's probably gonna be
大概6500、6400吧。
Start working on the
现在的
You
话
know，what? I think that he was actually going to put a Stargate back here, like we saw from Zest.
That's possible.
His probe went to the edge immediately.
And I mean,
so-
once again, this was a very early gate.
Yeah.
And he's well reminding of both simulators. Is that correctly? Has this? Yeah, I think you're
Yeah.
spot on, Tosus. I
Yeah.
really think that's what he wanted to do.
Yeah, and I was going to say as well, that's one build that we haven't seen yet that seems like a great Haas build is Proxy Void Ray. So could have been that, could have just been Oracles, but either way, he has to change his strategy now.
Do you think he's annoyed?
No, I think that Haas actually doesn't get annoyed. If you play like this all the time, and you're at this level,
不知道黑石会不会像刚刚昨天打不是昨天，就是32强打那个Special 一样，
Yes.
就是去开黄
Skip
金
the
矿一样。
Reaper. That also means it becomes a little bit tricky. This
这
Marine
场
is obviously looking for that probe. That
没有
was
野，
natural.
他这场没有
At this
野
point,。Kalazur is like, hey, where did that probe go? Now this is very nice. The SCV sees the
放
probe
家里
returns at home, has opened Stargate, but in his main. So if you ask me,
可是他 VS 放家里也算是
like I feel like it's a
不寻常的开局了，因为
it
一般
kind of feels that way.
一般正常的开局应该是先开2矿才会放科技嘛。
I don't think that
那他这场是先科技，然后2矿才要放，没有，搞不好他2矿不放。他是他看起来2矿不放都有可能。
Do anything is going to be so tough.
Now, on one hand, I understand that Kalazur also wants to freak out Haz a little bit, and it didn't work out.
他要野的地方先被野走了。我刚没仔细看，真的是这样子吗？他刚刚野的地方被野了。
Where your opponent has way more experience, right? Like
好，开矿了，开矿了。
get into weird, crazy mind game scenarios with the madman himself, because this is where Haz shines. That's his element. And I think that Kalazur should trust more on his fundamentals.
Yeah.
It is indeed a Phoenix opening. Now, Haz also loves to play Phoenix, and then either Phoenix Adept or Phoenix Zealot with armor upgrades, whatever it is. And once again, spam freaking units. He's really, really good about it. And Phoenixes are solid against Cyclones, man. They're very, very good
Yeah,
against them.
no, they can do very good job just lifting them up. It's hard to keep them locked on against those. And the fact that Killsure is not even starting a command center yet, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, and Phoenixes are very good against Terrans that are on one base as well. Because that obviously means that the Terran economy is weak. They only have a single orbital. And Phoenixes will always get worker damage, right? Like, unless you really put 4 Widow Mines around your natural, but no one would ever do that. This is a very risky move.
那个时候黑石，我记得他打营运的时候好像会出一堆教室，是不是？你们有没有印象？他有一段时间打那个马路，出一堆教室。
And Phoenixes, I find this a very, very risky build by Kalazur, and I'm not a fan at all.
哇，就卡拉猪这场打一波飞弹车一波，然后家里有凤凰，好像会死哦。这个凤凰要怎么守？哦，看到，我觉得会死这怎么玩？死了吧？这死了吧？3个凤凰，有机会守。完了，他有没有注意到家里啊？他有没有注意到家里啊？2只农，4只农了，5只农，完了，出事了。看一下正面吧，正面。哇，太亏了吧！好，这边是黑石要直接反打加凤凰。没能量，笑死！躲一下吧。
And I feel that is the one thing that someone like Kalazur truly needs against a player like Haas. He wants to get 40-50 supply of Stim Bio. That's truly what I believe you need against a player like Haas. And now you're playing a weird game. It's not bad by any means. He's going 3cc, so this game is open, don't get me wrong. But I feel that Kalazur is right now playing the type of game that Haas is like, nice, let's do it.
这画质哦，我看一下啊，最高了，没办法了。当时科技没那么发达。可是啊，虽然说刚刚那个围巾很赚，对不对？但是你们要记得，我不是有说吗？如果今天人类是科技开打神族，你要杀超过8只以上工兵的价值才有划算嘛，才有赚。打8只工兵的价值是平手。那刚刚上面杀了1只追猎，加上9只工兵，是超过8只工兵的价值，所以是赚的。但是他的正面死光了。所以整个这样子下来，我觉得神族是优势，人类是劣势。因为他今天是科技开嘛，科技开压制的话，你要赚超过400-500块的价值，才有回本。而且是回本哦，也就是说，刚刚维基那边是赚了大概200块，200多块，但是他正面亏光了，所以整个下来的话，我觉得人类是亏的。
A Nexus, Rotterdam. Where do you think he took the Nexus? Close your eyes. Where do you think he took it?
The gold.
Oh, you're so smart. That's exactly where he took the Nexus.
I think everyone would have got that good. Not in mine. I really like mines, by the way, for Kalazur. That's what I would have loved to see in that previous game. We said this before. Haas is not your disrupted type of player. I'm not saying he will never make one, but in general, you're not going to be worried about his Blink Stalker disruptor. You're not going to be worried about his 6 storms out of a War Prism like he's Zester as a West. No, you're going to be worried about crazy.
话说11月4号礼拜5有出一款游戏叫尼亚的，你们有人要玩吗？我在想要不要玩呢。
L'explosion de gate, as Le Tot would say. Never stop making mines against that stuff.
Wow, he actually misses that cloaked banshee in the corner, so that could come back and cause a bit of trouble.
手游。
I like what you're saying with those mines, especially considering he's not going for blink or anything. He's getting armor.
尼基啦，不是尼亚，尼基，抱歉。
Metric ton of gateways here. He really wants to explode as far as this macro goes.
The funny thing is that as someone like
大概是玩怎样的？玩开心的啦。会让人兴奋的那种。不可以色色，但是有点色色。手上玩回头利亚3，我都玩20几个小时了。去哪里下载？应该都有吧？有事前预约哦，有没有网址啊？
Get a Robo Bay. Get another Forge. You know, play a Colossus type of game.
Well, that is not Haas's type of game, Roddy, and looks like it is time for him to move out. A whole bunch of Widow Mines being burrowed here, along with the missile turret being made.
I like how he unburrowed the mine.
107-114。
Well, this
好，那黑石这边一样是有采黄金矿哦。
isn't ready though, so I don't feel like
No, you
hitting right
can.
now is optimal.
You can do that. It's pretty clear that Haas really wants to attack.
哎，这张图其实很宽敞，对于神族来说不是很好打。哦，立场，哦，再走，再走，再走，再走。
And I don't like how this is going at all for Haas.
No, getting a little bit rough right there. Ooh, taking a lot of damage on those retreating units.
哇，这波又赚了，这波把这个3矿干扰一下，又杀4只农，对，然后刚刚正面又击杀了一点人类部队。
Nope, and this is really a moment where you gotta like with
我应该会玩一下，我礼拜5直播玩好了。
Yeah, the flank of those charged zealots is what he's relying on, but definitely has to.
BB 也要玩哦，真的假的？
Concussive shells on the way, definitely something that's going to help out against Haas.
Now you do have that prism showing up, and 10 zealots at once being warped in, plus 2 armors on the way. It's important for if I'm Kalazur, you know, okay, he still has the mines. That's good. You don't really want to be anywhere without mines. Prism goes into the main. There isn't much in the main, and don't forget that could be 10 zealots warped into the main base as well.
Yeah, this is a big moment.
No, Haas.
4号，礼拜5。
Yeah, you do not want to lose that prism right now. He is a long ways from having another one. Looks like he runs through the mines here, so actually takes.
这是海教室版本吗？可是他没有海教室哎，所以可能不是。
He doesn't have blink yet though.
Blink is on the way. He's just gonna go crazy play. And you need some more zealots as well. I mean, obviously the gold is giving Haas an insane economy. Kalazur just needs to get a few more buyer units out. Haas has to be careful.
用主堡再农只能载5只。
As it floats away, I don't know if he'll end up getting it. He does have a couple force fields though.
Exactly, he could go for force fields as well. That
God.
orbital does go down, and
狂爆
now
了
Haas
那没救啦。
finds himself in a really good position.
这个正面黑石只要不让他下来，他出来就离场他，拖时间就赢了。
Kelliher can beat what Haas has.
Yep,
其实这个时候就是要空投，对，没错，这时候空投是一个非常好的选择。这时候人类就是要空投，然后不要铁头要从那个这边走，然后神族就是想办法破人类阵型啊，像这样子，主矿2矿这样子弄，对，拖时间一拖久，神族经济就比人类好非常多，因为它3个矿，而且其中又有黄金矿。
That's really gonna make his life a lot easier. Kalazur has unloaded units. He just warped in 10 zealots with the prism, I assume, right? Yes, and that means he has no defensive warp-ins, and that means he gets a recall. Now, this is not good for Kalazur because he lost the orbital, but what he does give himself is a moment to recollect his thoughts.
That's very true. He gets a few more units out. This medevac gets caught, but just stopping that attack, I think it was still worth it. A lot more units being warped in, 5 more sentries. He's really going to be able to control terrain here. Oh my God, gets a couple Widow Mines before they burrow. Very important moment there.
Yep. And obviously these trades, even if Haas loses 4 zealots for 2 Widow Mines, that's a good trade when it's 3 bases against 2, and one of your bases is a gold.
胜利女神尼基，这晃动真的太香了。
Roddy, it looks like he is getting set up for another one. Really
这会不会
that economy even more, whereas
在 YT 直播这个不知道会不会出事啊？会出事吗？
He just went for a triple drop, by the way.
Well, I guess recall is still on cooldown, but not for that much longer.
Zealots barely catch a glimpse of that army, and that's going to be enough. That might actually be the moment where Haas is like, you know what?
而且这时候的飞弹车对空好像没有那么强，他对空的伤害比较低一点。
Yes, okay, he's building a wall of depots. I think that's a really smart move. That's he's going to use some hallucinated phoenixes trying to drag maybe some Widow Mine fire.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, they're actually on the left there. Barely doesn't drag anything.
He can't recall. He just recalled, right? I mean, recall.
Yeah, it's not back up yet.
Nope. Okay. Kalazur no, I don't like this one. The triple drop, I think, is a really cool move. He's gonna fly over Stalkers here. That means he loses 8 Marines. But now he has so much supply on the other side of the map that I think at this point, Haas is immediately gonna run into the natural of Kalazur.
Well, he's actually warping in over here to try to deal with it, but this is not quite enough, I don't think, right?
But eventually he might get another big warp.
Yeah. Looks like he will just barely hold on to this. So I thought that was a good idea as well from Kelliher, but Haas is actually gaining an advantage right now, I would say. He's got the +2 carapace.
Because he got that one orbital, right?
And he has the second gold pace now.
But I also still think there's throw potential.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no splash damage, no Colossus. This bio ball is growing. Obviously, the contain is great, and Haas should be a mass.
更晃更射是吧？没事没事，反正我礼拜五玩，我会做好功课的，准备好一些。
Oh wow, that was kind of surprising he did that. Okay, he only loses 1 medevac for that, but that was definitely not the right move from Kelliher. Kind of trapped in his base.
天梯炸鱼场。没有啊，这个我跟你讲，你换一个神猪来，你更不肯打赢哦。换一个比较弱一点的，已经被干死了。
He's got to do something. Eventually, he has to come down, and Haas knows that.
What I don't get from Haas is that he doesn't at least keep upgrading. Because if you get 3-3, then your gateway units will always be useful. Kelliher has a lot of units over there on the low ground. Haas is gonna jump on top of this army.
点要停，点光就没了，结束了。
Yes, indeed. He comes down the ramp though and finds mostly just stalkers here.
GG
is called though. Kelliher unable to hang on, and Haas takes the lead.
开了觉得哇，这个黑石拿了那个饮料，发现他没有要喝，是这样吗？
I think that's so risky against somebody like Haas because he's actually strong.
饮料拿起来后要喝，发现我没那么渴。
Because he's not a crazy greedy pros. He's not gonna skip that shield battery. He's not like only gonna rely on his oracle to harass. Like no, I thought the Phoenix would make a lot of sense here, especially in one base scenarios. I think Phoenixes are probably.
我觉得这第三场啊。Kelliher 是针对错了，你懂吗？这场我认为啊，他这场的那个战术选择是因为他觉得黑石都在搞，所以他今天这场他也搞，用搞来以搞自搞，所以他出了那个飞弹车的那个战术，结果黑石这场正常打。
He didn't really know what Haas is doing, but I guess you never do.
You should also not forget that this was not a Reaper fast expand into Cyclone, where if they then don't do any damage, you know, you could say it hurts the Terran, but this CC was very late. And at that point, you need to do damage. But this is a map where you have to go up a ramp, there is a shield battery. I mean, Haas, he loves his Stargate, he loves his...
就黑石他这场没正常打，他开2矿了，出乎意料啊。
And he certainly didn't get that damage done. Haas showing he does have the macro skills later on, getting up to that +2 armor, charge, blink, having a good spread, just starving out Kelliher there. Definitely showing he has a range. It's not a full range of Protoss, but like he has everything to the left side, but not quite everything to the right.
What I did really love is how he played.
耳机太烫了，对啊，因为你大脑在急速运转的情况下，对那个耳机的温度会很高啊。尤其你看它这个是抗噪耳机的，它那个里面那个温度会非常非常烫，而且他们刚才场打很久，所以要拿下来吹一下。刚刚黑石也是啊，他刚刚黑石也是把那个耳机拿下来，让他那个凉一下。
That's up to 1. He is 1 map away from his best WCS finish ever. It is Haas.
你看这耳机很大是不是？失误招领，我觉得黑石要光炮咯。我觉得黑石要光炮了，因为失误招领的光炮是属于你知道怎样吗？只有我要炮啊，你知道都不一定守得住的光炮啊。所以我觉得黑石要光炮了，可是看起来好像没有。妈，好像没光炮了，正常打。2 瓦斯了，看来是。等一下，我们来注意一个细节，重来一下。我们这场看一下是个细节。等一下，我再回来一点，不好意思。这个细节我要看一下。
Troubles dealing with the depots and stuff like that, so he's just like, I'm gonna circle you in your base. You know? Remind me of the start of that war move that came out where they dropped the folders and it's like, oh.
你们看哦，你们有注意到细节吗？你们看这个生产列表这边已经有一个水晶塔了，但是黑石的人口是12，所以说黑石这场是开场没按工兵，等到有12人口的时候，对不对？有100块的时候，他先下水晶塔。
and you right here. You know?
然后这个时候他有50块了，他按了第一只工兵，也就是说黑石的流程是12人口下水晶塔之后按工兵，然后这时候应该是不会加速，因为你如果加速的话，等等你放兵营钱会不够，所以他这个第一发加速是不会按的。然后他可能只按一只工兵后就按13人口就按兵营了，看一下是不是这样的。你看啊，现在13人口嘛，他应该会停农。他等等这只工兵应该不做，然后会直接盖兵营，看一下。哦，摄影师很会抓哦，刚好在他要放币的时间给我切走。好，我们看一下40块，14人口。我们看一下那个，我跟你讲，这地方这样看就知道了。我们看一下它的那个生产列表，它的兵营的进度跟工兵。对，你看这个条差不多，也就是说这个兵营是先放才按工兵了，所以这一场确定12人口放水晶塔，然后按一只工兵之后盖兵营才按第二只工兵，所以是14人口，所以说他这场的野的东西才可以这么快。你们自己看，他接下来那个时间点就是跟一般我们野建筑物的时间点不一样。
Well, he was surrounded in that last game. But at the end, everyone got out.
这样子经济会不会不够吗？其实经济会很差，但是你第一发过去的时间很早，像是如果你是先知对，一般你野的话，3分30秒到3分40秒会到，但是他如果是这种方式的野，3分10秒就到，会快20秒钟，差非常多。
Dunkirk, that's what it was. Like us, you. Why were you at surrender?
Yeah, no, I get you. Double gas again, of course. Probe on its way, skirting around. Okay, what do we see here? Is Kellisher going to go back to his regular play? It kind of looks like it so far.
I really wouldn't mind just a Reaper, fast expand. On Lost and Found, you know, normally you don't build your CC on the high ground, but I would probably do it against a player like Has, especially if you scout that he's opening double gas. We see the SCV scout. Maybe he doesn't even go Reaper, maybe he just wants to get it. Oh my goodness, he's going to cannon rush then, right?
No, he's faking.
He's faking it?
Yeah. He's trying to get SCVs to run out. Haas, here's the funny thing about Haas. It's so meme intensive that he cannon rushes. He actually fakes it more often than he does it. Believe me, I watch a lot of Haas games.
有机会，人类进来侦查是有机会看得懂的，因为他的 BY 进度会比较快，但是你知道吗？很微妙，你知道吗？很微妙。你如果今天进来的时间点，侦查时间点晚了，你进去的时候，他那个 BY 好了，你也不会觉得怪啊，因为正常来说，你到的时候 BY 可能也已经好，所以你不会觉得那个 BY 有比较早。
Finds the pylon as well. Another pylon going to go up at the bottom right. I have no idea what Haas is going to do here. This is very late on any tech.
And it's very far away for a Robo, right?
Oh yeah, that's way too far away for Robo. Like, I guess you could make a Stargate there, but it doesn't feel right to me, so maybe Twilight Tech?
Yeah, maybe he just wants to go for a crazy Blink Stalker all in or something. I don't know. It's going to be very tough.
DT drop time, perhaps? Feels like a turret is just a good counter to Haas at that point.
This adept is going to take care of at least one Marine.
人族工兵有绕路巡，有啊，打黑石肯定要巡的。
And he's going to send the probe away. So yeah, maybe this is just a crazy Blink play. I mean, with Hash, you never know. He can literally do all three. He probably has a Zealot build, an Adept build, and a Blink Stalker build, right?
And a DT build.
Yeah.
Okay, like, come on, let's give him some credit here.
Probably has a Storm Drop build as well.
Oh my god.
But then he wouldn't research Storm and morph it into an Archon. It's like, got you.
这个 VC 吗？我觉得是闪追，我不觉得是 VC，我不觉得是引刀。如果他将要引刀的话，这时候应该会放 VR 才对。因为你如果是走正面的引刀太靠赛，走有 VR 的引刀才会比较合理一点。那种没有 VR 的那种引刀走正面的那种都是对方够烂才会输，你才会赚的。所以正常来说，他们如果要打引刀战术，都是会放 VR， 然后用丢的丢进去，这样的话你还可以操作。然后砍完一波之后，对，合白球再烧第二波这样。
And this is one of those maps where you really do need a bunker. This adept is gonna go down, but not before it gets a single marine.
不过这把我跟你讲，那个黑石已经很亏了，毕竟他刚刚前面是用那个很极限的流程，但是那个野建筑物失败了嘛。那他这时候要打这个闪追，即使你看，我跟你讲，闪追这个东西，你早个10秒，并不会对战局造成什么影响。
Well, it's pretty hard to scout a Twilight in the bottom right of the map.
Yeah, but the gateway would be a massive tell, because then it doesn't really matter whether it's charge or blink. You know something is gonna all in you. Okay, gets a tank. Tanks are very good.
Yes, definitely going to be very helpful here.
Bunker is very good.
You know, does he have anything to give vision on the high ground, like other than the one adept he has?
Nope.
All right. Well, it's going to be hard to maybe break the entire base with
I
this.
think he just wants to blink on top of the tank, on top of the bunker.
Okay.
He's gonna be like, Patience does good blinks? Take a look at mine. He's gonna blink into an anti-armor missile, Marines, bunkers, SCVs, and a tank. But you know, the Banshees defensively are gonna be so much more useful, by the way.
Hold on. If he actually blinks directly into the bunker, he might kill it before it gets repaired.
哦，很拼哦，完了，这个
It down, but the siege tank pushing him back.
是不是死了三只追？哦，还被炸一个，死3只还4只追猎吧？
Where's that Banshee? Isn't there one Banshee out already?
He actually canceled it to make the Raven first.
Okay,
So this is going to be the first Banshee.
He cancelled Cloak.
Yeah, he did.
Cloak would have actually been so good.
It would have been sick.
Because there's no Robo.
Second guessing himself a bit. Oh my god, he actually does blink on the tank as you called. The Shaden from the Adepts.
The other turret is very nice, because now at
Yeah.
least the bunker finishes up again. And this build from Haas, this is not a build where you want to lose stalkers. You're supposed to blink in, get your target, get out of there. At best, trade out 1 or 2 units. I love this, by the way. He's like, this is not working. What do I do? More gateways.
2018的我那时候5400多，
I lost
最高的时候啊，
So how do I replace those? Well,
大部分时间是在5000到5200之间。那时候4900到5200，4900到
That he
5000。
didn't finish up Cloak, because Cloak would have been
Yeah.
tremendous here.
that could have been even a game-ending move at that point. Looks like this Banshee will get caught.
Oh,
Oh
wait.
my god.
It
what?
finished up.
Oh, I guess it doesn't show under upgrades.
But that's weird. All right, no shield battery.
Yeah.
There you go. Cloak Banshees, have a day.
回不去了吗？哎呀，我跟你讲，重赏之下必有勇夫啊！
But they do take a little bit to build.
This is amazing.
有练就有啊，想练就有啊。
This is his game. He has defended the Blink Stalker attack, and now he shows up with a Cloak Banshee. And even if he would only kill 10 probes here, which is obviously insane, the amount of mining time that Haas is losing here, that is detrimental in this phase in the game for Protoss. When you don't have charge, when you don't have Colossus, when you don't have Disruptors, how do you recover from this?
No, I actually have no idea how
哇
you're supposed to
炸了
recover, because
这个经济已经
normally in a situation like this, the
已经爆烂
Protoss
了
will try to
爆裂
mess
了
up to some splash damage, get a good storm or disruptor hit or really great cluster
Not Haas.
defense.
Not
Yeah,
Haas.
Not Haas.
He goes Dark Templars.
How
哦
do you bludgeon
引
your
刀
way
了
through this Dark Templar?
但我觉得引刀也很难赚吧？这引刀要怎么赚呢、
Snipe that Raven.
你看这个卡拉猪还有在留能量的、
The Optimus is Haas. That's the thing about him. There's no half measures, Rotterdam. He's not going to back up in a splash. That's a losing scenario for every Protoss in this situation.
This is very painful, by the way, because all the Stalkers are out of position, and yes, he's got a battery, but now 2 Banshees are going to show up, and that means that those 2 Banshees are going to one-shot probes, and Haas is about to lose a whole lot more probes. Hey, he finds them.
Okay.
That's cute.
Yeah, that's nice by the Observer. Definitely can counter with that a little bit. Hopefully not take too much damage from those Banshees. Does warp in some Stalkers at home. The Dark Shrine is going to be finishing up, but like you said, you know, this Raven is there. He needs to snipe it. And if he blinks in to snipe that...
These Stalkers cannot do anything here.
No. He needs to wait until the army comes out and then hope that the Raven is on attack move and he can pick it off.
No idea. Where's the the Nexus is on a normal location, by the way.
Ooh.
开3矿，
Right. I mean, I think if you're Haas right now,
这叫什么？
like,
富贵险中求的。
make it, right? Like, he's gonna protect
等等，那个以前你要过去看到那3矿，那个人类就出门了。
I would love to see DT blink here, by the way. I mean, I know Fear Dragon is watching because he doesn't miss a single game of StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
If you want to win this game with DTs, then you may as well get Shadow Strike as well.
Jeez, yeah, why not? Look at that. Oh my god. He actually did.
哇，这正面超多的、欸
It looked like he was
这个神族没办法吧？他就这点追猎，然后加引刀要拖时间的。哦，点掉。 然后这时候刷引刀靠赛。
When you sacrifice this much trying to get that, I feel like I stopped dropping mules.
It's a slow warping as well. Not sure what those Stalkers are going to do. He's going to base trade, I guess, right? DT base trade. They may not have
Hey, yeah. I mean, it's as best a call as you can make at this point.
Of course, Haas knows as well that this is a very dark scenario. I mean, we're looking at 3 orbitals. There's a missile turret. They're minimized forward blink immediately on top of these Marauders, on top of these bio units. Now, Kalazur obviously knows as well that Haas cannot have anything at home. These are some real patience blinks, by the way.
Indeed. Now, can he actually pick off some of these orbitals? They have a lot of energy. The one in the third does, that one in the natural does as well. Because DTs are going to be his only chance to really win this game.
It's just hard, right, to deal with actually all these bio units that pop out, every Marauder. Okay, 4 Dark Templars run in. Haas, he's gonna work on a turret here. No, he doesn't.
其实我也很常这样打就是那种闪追失败之后，对不对？然后就用引刀看有没有机会翻盘。啊，这个打法对不对？人类也遇过好几次了，所以他知道你闪追亏死了，那你接下来他就防引刀就好。就是神族会这样想啊，人类也知道，因为其他神族都这样想嘛。
I think he knows as well that the writing is on the wall for this one. Great holds again by Kalazur.
2-2.
All right, tied up 2-2. Finally going to go to another game 5 here tonight. The last series of the round of 16. Who
你看
will go forward?
耳机要拿下来，因为太烫了，耳朵都快烧起来。你看有没有看到那耳朵很红对？因为那个温度很高啊。再戴个30分钟，大概耳朵要熟了。
It's a map where I think Kalazur should feel quite comfortable, right? It's one of those maps where, you know, it's the only thing you could say it's annoying to get into the main base of Haas because the Reapers, there's only a single way in. You have to worry as well, there's no ramp going into your natural, but it is kind of a large map, and in general, we look at Acid Plant as a macro-oriented map. But I really love the way that Kalazur analyzed things here on Lost and Found, right? The bunker. Normally, maybe they wouldn't get a bunker, but he's like, I don't know what's happening. I should probably get a bunker. He kept the Marines. He's like, you know what? I'll probably get a tank because I still don't know what I'm playing against.
我直接跳第5场哦，这个不知道要多久，刚刚人都走了。
Well, we will see what has.
来第5站哦，谁赢谁晋级，输了淘汰。
What do you think, Rotterdam? From what you've seen so far, from the last map that we're going up on, who's got the edge?
I believe in Kalazur here. I really do. I love the way he played Lost and Found. He was in the dark, and I thought that Haas played a smart build for what we have seen out of him so far, but Kalazur played it safe and smart. I give him a minor edge.
Okay, well, the person I give the minor edge to, let me tell you, he's down here in the bottom right, our Taiwanese Protoss. It's Haas.
And on the left top side of Acid Plant, we're looking at the main base of the man that wants to have the same runs in these WCS events as he had last year. It is Kalazur.
如果不小心被水呛到喷出来，喷到键盘会怎么样？这种我倒是没听过有人在比赛的时候发生这种事。如果你在比赛中发生这种事，那你也是蛮衰的。
I don't know.
No one would ever proxy a one-base Protoss.
Well, that's a good point. But you know, he knows Kalazur is a little bit of an aggressive player. Second probe coming out.
What if he? I mean, I would say, what if he gets a second gate somewhere on the map? But that's actually not something you really want to do.
Especially not over here.
No, that's way too far away. And also, since Kalazur has been building CCs on the high ground, now Acid Plant is one of those in-between maps. If I'm Acid Plant, if I'm Acid Plant...
If you're Acid Plant, no, keep going. I want to hear where you're going with this.
I don't know. I saved that story for a rainy day. If I'm Kalazur, I think this is a map where I'd feel okay building my CC on the low ground. He actually opens up double.
他这把黑石这把没有封到那个气，然后工兵还被卡住了，所以卡拉猪这边的想法是不要让他这支工兵有机会去野东西啊，然后他也没有盖到瓦斯嘛，所以他的一波也会削弱很多。然后黑这边一样是把建筑盖在外面，野了一个不知道野什么，他这个位置应该是野 VC 吧？他那个位置我觉得是野 VC。 哦 ，VS， 哎，我觉得是出凤凰，我觉得是出凤凰。这场可能是打运营哦，这场看起来这个位置应该是出凤凰，然后打运营的。因为我曾经有一段时间也是这个理解，就是我把建筑物 VS 也在外面，然后出凤凰，因为对方的死神会来侦查嘛。所以我把 VS 野在外面，他就不知道我走凤凰，而且会以为我也不知道野了什么东西，他压力会很大。但其实我只是出凤凰，所以我猜他这个应该是走凤凰。不会，通常比赛不太会带备用键盘。
Is in a slugfest with Haas.
Yeah.
This is a 5-game series, and now you're just thinking about all possible protos.
我之前有听过一个很惨的，那个手机游戏的赛车选手带方向盘，然后结果方向盘在托运的时候压坏了，直接变观光客，你知道吗？
And got a probe. The SCV is still going to scout as well. I think if Galazur scouts this, he's not going to be a fan, but I also think he believes he can still turn this around.
Oh, sure, yeah.
啊，这没操作，刚刚有操作，这只死神死定了。好，这边果然走凤凰，不然的话 ，VS 野那个位置太不合理了，所以走凤凰是比较有可能的做法。我不知道，就是那个托运的时候，不是行李会有挤压吗？他可能装的太满了，我想。反正他的那个还是说什么压力之类，我不知道。反正他的那个方向盘就坏了，这也是10几年前的事情。
Now my real question is, Haas, where do you take it from here? And by the way, Haas should be in a much better position than he's actually in. I look at the work account, tells us it's 32 versus 28. Protoss is supposed to have more workers than 32, because this was a 1cc Kalazur for the longest time. You've got 2 Nexi, Chronobus out those probes. I guess he wants to get a couple Phoenixes out. I don't hate that.
然后过去直接杀，直接杀渡鸦，直接杀渡鸦，直接杀渡鸦的话就赚翻，笑死，赚烂了，赚烂了。说到这个凤凰杀渡鸦，对不对？有一个理解啊，就是一般来说，凤凰遇到这种渡鸦的会觉得凤凰很赚，对不对？但是之前看了一场比赛，就是好像是一样吗？还是孤米吼忘记了，反正就是他知道对方出凤凰的情况下，他一样按了渡鸦，还是马路啊？忘记谁，反正就是有一个选手他是这样做。那他的说法是这样子，因为他觉得打凤凰就是要出渡鸦来打，你只要不要被抓到就好了。就他的理解是这样的，我觉得也蛮有道理。就是你被抓你是亏死没错，但是你只要不被抓的话，你的那个渡鸦到时候在进攻的时候会起到非常大的作用。渡鸦很贵啊，要200气，所以渡鸦掉了是超级亏的一件事情，而且它会吃掉 VS 的产能。如果说你今天 VS 是做医疗艇，你做一个渡鸦实验，你可以做2个医疗艇，因为你可以有反应炉可以是做2个，也就是说你掉了一个渡鸦，等于是掉了2个医疗艇的产能。
Stim is like the main upgrade against Haas because he just never has splash damage. And from here, I feel like this is so simple for him to go into armor and charge and make it very difficult for Kalashur. Again, it's not impossible for Kalashur here. He's not that far behind, but it's going to be tough to actually break through Haas at some point.
It's definitely not nice, and especially if Haas keeps up his macro, if he stays on point when it comes to producing probes, as his Phoenix is going to fly in. He trades out a single Phoenix for a Marine. He's going to be forced to cancel that lift. I mean, the good thing there is that he delays that CC from finishing up. The bad thing, obviously, is losing a Phoenix. I obviously like it for Haas, but it really depends what his follow-up plan is. And I kind of hope that he keeps that reactor on the factory, because you just want
those Widow Mines.
You really do. Like, Widow Mines are just great against the way that Haas is playing.
Definitely don't disagree with you there, but he's making 3 racks, so this might just be a reactor to get more units out of these barracks. I think he's really kind of decided on the fact that he can make mass bio and maybe beat Haas.
Yeah, I mean, and that's not a wrong assessment either, right? That tank is very exposed.
防凤凰的话，其实出鬼雷不错，出鬼雷防凤凰是一个不错的做法。
This is a game where I think Kalazur is going through his mind right now.
没能量了。
Oh my god, what have I done?
掉。
probably thinks this game is as good as over, but that is and under the assumption that your opponent has done everything right on the other side of the map, which is not the case. We look at that work account. Has obviously created a good worker lead now, but we don't see Colossus. We don't have High Templars on the way. It's gonna be Zealots with armor, but it's a single forge, and Darren can always make a comeback against just Zealots with a couple, with an armor upgrade.
Absolutely. Now, Haas is moving out. He's getting that +1 armor in charge. Those are going to finish relatively soon, and the Prism does get spotted there by the Reaper.
Sees no 5th and 6th gas, maybe not a surprise, but it's still nice to confirm that. If I'm Kalazuri, you don't float out at Orbiter yet. Indeed, you get bonkers. He's gonna counterattack. This is a very, very risky decision by Kalazur. One that could play off in a big way, but can also really backfire and actually cost him his tournament life.
Yeah, it definitely could. There's not that many units at home right now. Phoenix is coming in. They can do some really.
凤凰被鬼雷炸一下会剩多少血哦？我教你怎么算。鬼雷炸一下是155， 145，然后他炸护盾会有55点伤害。
It's for Archons. Don't worry about it.
所以说，正常来说，他应该会炸到200滴，打神族的单位会炸200滴。所以凤凰应该会剩下50滴才对。然后这个地方在操作的时候啊，人类这个地方在操作的时候有个细节，就这里在操作的时候有细节。你们仔细看哦，他这个陆战队是集火的，你不能用 A 的，你要集火才可以一直打掉，不然你如果用 A 的，搞不好一直都杀不死。这边要用 A 的，你看有没有？他都集火打这一只这样。
Trick question, Artosis. Hey, the Phoenix is out of position now. There is a shield battery over here as well. Is there a shield battery in the mine? Yes, there is a shield battery everywhere.
He's getting a full tour of all the bases, and he's going to see that Templar Archive.
If I'm Haz right now, I would chrono boost it. Be like, I'm going Storm.
Yeah, for sure.
Mind games. Chrono boost it, Haz. But nah, he won't believe it.
All right. Looks like something happened there to an Immortal.
Oh, this is very nice.
Oh, wow.
Pretending that he's leaving, but actually dropping still in the main base.
Yeah, if Haas actually leaves with all his units, I mean, he already used his recall here, so that is very annoying.
Oh my goodness, Haas. Okay, well, I mean, he's going to force his orbital to live, but he doesn't really have a lot of stalkers, so that's a massive warp. And now Kalazur can go all the way back to his third base on the south side of the map. The Phoenixes are here as well. Haas's life would have been so easy if he would have just left those Phoenixes. No, those are some pretty decent force fields, but these Zealots have to be.
这个局势已经是，这个空投，哇，这个空投好赚了，10只农。这个局势已经是神族大优了，你知道吗？4个矿打2个矿，然后那个3矿开不出来，只要家里不要被闹得太惨哦，这是有点惨。34龙，这边。炸盾就是多55滴啊，那个他就是炸145加55的护盾。以前猛男流很强，可是差在哪？以前很强，现在不强吗？不是都一样吗？没有改什么吧？没改啊，我觉得只是因为人类习惯了这个打法了。战术有研发出来这样子，像以前哪有什么3坦克啊？那个时候哪有这3坦克的？对，炸护盾会有特别加成，不然太烂了吧？你想一下，今天炸虫族200滴，你觉得虫族能玩吗？所以他才弄了一个神族特别条款，就是在原本炸的那个基础上，然后再多加一点伤害，是炸神族。哇，这个电，哇操嘞！
Storm showing he does know how to play that late game splash.
Oh no, he still has Zealous over there on the north side as well. He's gonna clean it up. Haas has done it.
Yeah, it looks like it.
不过我跟你讲，不得不说，哇，晋级8强，太强。不过不得不说，他的那个闪电，对不对？我等他握完手，不哭了。
He had no attack upgrades, no Robo Bay. Those 3 High Templars with Storm
干输给这大招狗，哦，干，好难过。输给这大招狗。结果我跟你讲，黑石最后一场不是大招，黑石最后一场是打营运打赢，对吧？他是演了一个 VS 的凤凰，他并不是放大招赢。所以我觉得卡拉朱输他应该要心服口服吧，他最后一场又不是被大招干死。来，这个地方要讲一下，我跟你讲，如果今天是小 Hero 控这边，他会怎么控？一样的是 A 上去嘛，对不对？这个时候他可能会，他闪电不会这样电了。小 Hero 的闪电应该是会把他的冷静放在可能这个位置吧，他可能会把他的冷静拉过来，然后放下来电完之后再把闪电接走。小 Hero 会这样控，他不会像黑石这样子往脸上飞这样电，这样子电的话太拼了。但是结果来说，这场是赢了。飞边边反而不好电着，可是他们都会这样做呢，他们会把那个人际上面的那个闪电还很小心的把它保存下来。
Doesn't make Storm off them, but when he does, he makes it count. He was really committed that, by the way, because he lost a lot of probes. He had no attack upgrades, no Robo Bay. Those 3 High Templars with Storm is all that has had.
They landed beautifully as well. You can see Kelliger really crushed by this defeat. I think he probably came in thinking, absolutely, I can beat Haas. And I think
大招狗不会在乎2个单，不是这样子啊，那都是累积起来的，你知道吗？那个实力，可能你跟人家，你可能你6600跟人家6800，就差这个细节，就差这个小地方，或许。
And other than that, the rest of the army from Haas really wasn't much, right? It was just +2 armor, no attack upgrades on those Stalkers either. But those storms absolutely got max value.
那这样的话，黑石到这个时候已经进到8强了，这时候已经走到了这里了，8强。接下来打 Nature， 我觉得打 Nature 这场也是很关键的。那个时候啊，我觉得他能够进到16强，对，打这个卡拉朱，我们都觉得他要输了，因为那时候黑石打的那是他最弱的，我们都觉得他要输了。结果他遇到Nature，我们都觉得打Nature应该要赢了，就他差点输。然后打那个休探的时候，觉得完了，神打神应该是打不赢的，结果又赢了，哇，真的是每一场都是很惊险，你看都是3-2、3-2。嘿，现在有打，他还是有打，他才刚拿一个台湾冠军，只是没什么在练习了。对啊，他自己说他 PPT 无敌啊。其实说真的，假如今天黑石从16进到冠亚，他没有先打 Nature， 假设没有，假设他一路上都是遇到神族人类，而且他都晋级，最后打 C 罗，搞不好他会赢，搞不好那一年冠军就是黑石，搞不好在另外一个宇宙的黑石是赢的，但在我们这个宇宙他输了。
Thank you, Sue. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This is the last quarterfinal match, and what a doozy we got for you. Nerchio, a household name. Haas, a household pile of cheese sitting on that table fermenting for years and years. Here it is, Roddy.
Indeed, our first map is going to be played on 16-bit between these 2 players. On the left bottom side, we're looking at the main base of Mr. Consistency himself. It's Nerchio.
And put your hands together for one of the most entertaining players in all of the world, and certainly the WCS. In the top right-hand side, it's Haz.
Now, I think, Jeff, that most of these games are going to be played out in maybe, let's say, 3 ways. The first is the obvious one.
Yeah.
We're thinking cannons, batteries, a proxy gateway.
Certainly.
Maybe some ugly Robo Immortal juggling around it of 1 basis. Then every now and then you see Haas pretend it's a normal game, go up to 2 bases, but then it's an 8-gate charge load all in.
怎么可能赢 C 罗？哎，不好说哎。C 罗是因为他看过黑石的战术了。
That Has does kind of like to play, and that's where he goes 1-gate Stargate, pretends it's normal, but he's one of those guys, one of the very few ones out there that will not get Warp Gate. He will rush straight into that.
黑石那时候打 C 罗那一球跟 C 罗这么好，战术全部都跟 C 罗讲了。C 罗在打黑石的时候，其实是有点对黑石来说是很不利的。
But I think it's pretty much always gonna be one of
啊，其实争论这个没什么意义啊，事情都已经过去了。最后结果就是黑石输了嘛。
Proxy play, of course, is okay, but if it doesn't go well, you have a very safe 3 bases for Nurchio. You might as well be dead. So I think Haz is going to dip into that bag and go with one of the things you just talked about, Roddy. I like the idea of Stargate play. It's a little bit, I would almost say, predictable, which again, for Haz doesn't seem to be an issue. You can kind of know what's coming.
好，这场没有野，这场黑石正常打，开了2矿。主要也是因为这张图有内矿啊。如果说今天黑石要光炮的话，对方如果是开内矿或是开外矿，他没有办法控制。Sen 的经典比赛啊。那个2012年有一次打大 Hero， 你们有印象吗？有一场打大 Hero 的，哇，那场也是很经典。然后2014台湾 Open 打那个叫做那时候 WCA 的积分第2名的虫族 DPD 台湾 Open 冠军是 Sen， 那一场也是很经典的。收贝的经典比赛当时是清朝，没有直播这种东西，甚至连电脑都没有，所以没有办法回顾。
For now, it's 4 gateways, right? And this is all still kind of normal. He's still mining gas, and he could absolutely drop that Nexus. But rarely will you see Haas go up to 60 probes using that Nexus.
Even the sentry's a bit odd.
不如来回顾收贝的世纪帝国4的精彩战役好了。
Well, you could use the sentry eventually to maybe force field Norcho outside of his main base.
He might just expand. Honestly, this could be a Warp Prism and Harass, which is just generally good. Get the Zerg to overreact or just be back at home, and then you take the 3rd base and tech up from there. Maybe Haz literally it does have the ability to play normal.
Well, with tech up, I think we mostly mean get a few more workers, get more gateways, and make a bigger attack.
Is he still building probes?
Yeah.
Hasn't taken the gases just yet. It is just the 4 gateways.
+1 probably immediately on the Forge.
Oh, you're playing a dangerous game. You're doing the commentary thing where you're predicting, but it's Haz who's playing. No, man, I'm telling you, it's just a Warp Prism Harass. Just stuff behind it, walk out some Immortals, take your 3rd.
我猜他是 AOE 4跟4哥打，肯定他赢啊！他征服者2排名200内的，他排名200内的。
If he overreacts, he falls himself behind. Later in the series, if he underreacts, that's when like 8 DTs walk in or Void Rays and he just dies.
This is nice. He's gonna use these Zealots to maybe pick off a creep tomorrow or 2.
He's just gonna damage it for right now. This is a work in progress.
啊，应该说他会赢多啦，不能说我一定会输，但是他会赢多。就我们打个10场，我可能赢个，我觉得可能赢个2场了不起吧。如果说他那个分数来说的话，我觉得10场赢个2场差不多。
Look at Nurchio bravely droning up here too, by the way. Does he see the expansion? Because I'm looking over there.
毕竟他是4代初到现在都在玩，他玩1年哦。我中间有9个月、10个月没玩了，怎么我还能赢他？就不合理了吧？他也是曾经的台湾星海争霸1的王者，他有那个资质的，他有那个身体，你懂吗？即使他现在老了，对不对？但是他有那个身体。
Keep in mind, Zergs would happily, against most other players right now, be like at 60, 65, but right now Nurchio cannot afford to do that.
They're just making a lot of roaches. He's clearly expecting an attack.
Into Immortals in a lot of gateways.
Yep. And obviously, Zealots are maybe not necessarily the greatest unit against the Roach, but the Immortal is. And if you have like 15 Zealots running around, good luck, have fun for these roaches. Oh, tunneling. That's actually a very good play. I really like it. I think that's very, very smart.
You know, I like it too. But when you get weird against the god of weird,
can get weird, I guess.
I really like it because that normally the zealots, like I said, they don't serve much of a purpose.
哇，这边直接3不朽可以吗？我觉得有点拼虽然说我前阵子直播的时候也打过类似的东西。
And that is something. It's gonna be a counterattack.
Yeah,
that
I don't like. I honestly think that Nurture should be defending. Oh, he picked off the observer. Well, that's not.
没有 OB 的话，没有办法清重胎哇，我觉得。
Now these roaches have burrow. I mean,
我感觉打不死
Anyways, the fight's gonna start at the natural over here.
That's very nice already.
啊，出事了，886。这个哨兵直接被砸死3只，然后立场直接隔到自己了，完了绕赛了。直接哭哭脸了，这打不赢了吧？哎，等一下。我觉得怪怪的哦，因为刚刚那个 Nature 为了守这波，对不对？他把工兵拉出来，然后工兵死了6只。没有，这把还有的玩，这把都还有的玩。师哥都说二图曼很强，你说的平行世界是怎样？我没有说二图曼弱，我没有说二图曼烂哦。你说平行世界是怎样？我可没有说二图曼烂哦。
If Has sends more units here, he's going to lose all the probes in the main and the natural as well.
Nice warpers and micro. He's trying to buy some time up inside that main, but Nurture is really good at the multitasking as well. We're not seeing it, but I guarantee you those units are being preserved. The cannon here is going to kind of fluster them back. And inside the main, more damage being done. So that worker advantage now swings in favor of Nurture.
Yep.
And chaos ensues. Just
可是你们这样讲也不合理啊，因为他是说师哥都说二图曼很强，他不是说师哥的二图曼很强，他是说，所以我用说来回答合理吧？我没有说二图曼弱啊。有啦，二图曼我被二图曼干了不少场二图曼打起来感觉就是没什么空窗期，你知道吗？就是黑暗时代也强，封建时代也强，城堡时代也强，除非打到帝王，不然的话没什么空窗期啊。他从一开始黑暗时代就有兵了，然后封建时期兵又比你多。
So it's going to be like mostly Zealots and some Immortals. That's an okay comp, but you hit a certain point where enough Hydras in a good fight, which we saw from Nurture yesterday, was like the defining reason why he's here. You just forget about it. You can't do anything into that composition.
I totally agree. Hydras kind of work like Stim Bio in that regard, right? Zealots are very good against small numbers until the Hydra ball gets that big that the Zealots run forward and they all just get picked off one by one. Now Has is gonna go for it one more time. Why not? He's down 13 workers. +2 is about to finish up. He feels that this is
速帝王那个罗马。
It's absolutely possible. If he runs into a choke point.
然后他不是不升 OB 啊，他 OB 被打掉，他第一支 OB 飞出去之后被打掉了。
I can go cancel that fourth, but maybe I can't win this fight. Getting the Roachborn here is okay. I mean, he's not going to do that.
我怎么觉得这个画面看起来是
taking too much economic damage? You got to go for the Warp Prism. Keep in mind, if that goes down, reinforcements here are not.
神猪有机会啊！我觉得这画面神猪有机会。
He does deny +1 missile attacks, and that's actually a very big pick-off. These Immortals are +2 guys, and the Roaches and Hydras are +1. But once again, this is going to come down to the engagement, and Has knows that, of course. He has experience. He knows Zealots are good if they get a proper engagement. If they run into
我干嘛？我看不懂这个操作，这操作可以吗？
一
场隔一下。
Has is starting to kind of clamp down on top as the Zealots are getting good surface area. The Stalker Immortal Firebase behind us, dishing out so much pain. Is this kind of happening that the supplies are still in favor of Nurture, but the firepower of our Protoss player here?
工兵又死光，矿没了，矿没了。哇，打死人，你敢信？
Immortals being preserved?
A lot of Hydras on the way, but that's not enough.
笑死，这样也行。
Has does it in the most Has way possible. A lot of Zealots and a fight and a timing where we normally look at each other and say, this is not when you attack. This doesn't make sense. He makes it work again.
The rest of us are playing by rules that
这个 Adas 有点神说实在的，我觉得 Adas 有点神
Nah, I don't play by those rules. As he destroys, I mean, he was down in supply that whole time. That's so funny. Like very often, if a fight goes really well for a Protoss,
为什么他不朽都没事？
damage that just shows up in the numbers, right? Like
因为他有去拜拜，有拿那个平安符，行车平安啊。
We're getting 1-to-1 against roaches that were under-upgraded, hydras that had no insulation, and the immortals were not getting corrosive bile. They weren't getting touched. Their shields were remaining there, so when the fight did kind of get down to the nitty-gritty, they were still really tough. Just actually really well executed by Haz. He just is doing it again.
I think looking back at this game, I thought the counterattack by Nurcho, the very first one, was risky, but it absolutely did pay off in a big way because he forced Haz home. At that point, there was one pivotal moment where he's got roaches in a natural world, roaches in a main world, and that massive army that's running towards that third base of Haz, I think he can easily take out the third base. And if Haz sends too many units to the low ground, that's when you keep using those roaches. But the roaches in the natural, they stayed burrowed for a very long time. I think Nurcho could have gotten even more value than just a 10-worker advantage out of that scenario.
Wow. Well, okay. Game number 1 is it's done. It's 1-0 for Haz. If you missed it, it looks like a mostly normal PvZ. I guess the way you have to hold your breath is that Haz got a cheeky one out there. But here we go. Game number 2 on red shift. In the top left-hand side from Poland, one of the most well-known names in the WCS system, it is Nurcio.
And I believe Artosis has promised anyone $1 million.
靠脚没有，我是靠颜值啊，颜值跟实力的，没错。
On this map, it is our one and only Protoss, a crazy one. It's Haz.
好，第2把。
Haz is sized up to take that gold. Happy 99th to Roddy. That's right, your 100th event.
哦
coming up fairly soon.
I know that's.
这个黄金矿开的有点神秘哦，它盖反的。
BlizzCon 2020.
那黑石赢啊，这黑石怎么输？盖反的。哎，我知道为什么要盖反的。他这个虫族这个盖反的是要放大招。这个虫族盖反的是会放大招，所以盖反的。然后黑石说，黑石那时候说，这张图虫族只要开黄金矿，对不对？他有50种以上搞死对方的方法。
Sorry, you go ahead. What were you saying?
So I've seen this build obviously quite a few times, and it's wow. Haz is gonna cannon this base from the inside of Nurcho's main. Jeff, what are we watching?
I mean, well, you're on your own, Kevin. I'm gonna go over here, soak this in. That is so weird, but it's kind of smart because you can creep up from there, right? Because one of the things we know that he likes to follow up with is.
不是，这场应该是赢的，这场应该是赢的。他又不是 Zero， 这场 Zero 也看啦。
Unless this is spotted, right? If he sends drones at all, I mean that's normally what they do. I guess he's not going to do it. Cats would have done it. Let me just put it that way.
然后我觉得那个 Nature 今天会盖反的，对，就是为了放招，不然他不会盖反的。你盖反的为什么？就是为了要挖那个黄金矿嘛。哎，不对，不是为了挖黄金矿，是为了要让你后虫可以比较早到人家家嘛。而且你神主如果开黄金矿，对不对？他的后虫还可以打你的黄金矿，等于是你神主只要开黄金矿，遇到他这招就是。对 ，Zero 照开，但是 Zero 照开有我是觉得多少心里面还是有些应对。
Touch your monocle and be like, well, you should have separated the cans a little bit, but it's fine. It's going to buy some time. And like Roddy just said, with the gas and probably Stargate, there it is. Behind this, not bad. Now, to be fair, I like Nurchio's response. He did not invest into this at all. He didn't try to defend it. He said, okay, you got that. I'll take my natural.
哦，好 ，OK。
In the end, you could of course look at that and be like, hey, that's
我用平板抓一下。
versus 400 minerals. That's not.
等下我站离一下，我去拿平板。
The problem is Zerg does need that extra hatchery, right? They need that extra larva to really get that production going. Well, I'm a little bit worried because you shouldn't forget about those cannons that Haz can potentially use as sort of a staging ground. He's getting warp gate as well. What if he starts warping in adepts there, shades those adepts into the main base of Nurcho? He can really start doing some serious damage.
Well, Nurcho doesn't want him to get to that stage. You got an Overlord coming up here to spot for the high ground. There is no cannon here.
Go for the pylon. Go for the pylon. You want to go for the
可以预载了。
The game could just end right there.
他不知道能不能创工会，要不要来到这里创工会玩？
Oh, you can ignore it, but the Oracle.
But even then, the Oracle pops out and it does a lot of damage to these Ravagers.
Yeah, but at least this is some serious economic damage already, right? You force all these probes to stop mining. The corrosive ball almost got that one cash money shot that Nurcho's obviously dreaming of.
You know, the problem I have with this, though, is it's good. Don't get me wrong, but Oh, he actually ran out of
It's
energy.
really good. 'Cause now the stalker is coming, but
I feel like the gold kind of overcomes this loss, like pretty quick.
10 probes, Jeff, as a Protoss in this phase in the game.
Haz is not a Protoss, and you'd be really, really silly to make the mistake of assuming as much.
That's true.
我怎么觉得
He's the fourth race.
He's just something else, yeah.
我怎么觉得黑石一点都不赚啊？
This right here is good, yeah. So like if that was a Void Ray, which I feel like
他是在嘴炮我啊，什么对方开黄金矿重组开黄金矿，他50这种搞死对方的方法，我觉得他是搞死自己的方法。
It doesn't really exist.
All right. Any other Protoss
你基哦，没有工伤
at，this point?
我也希望有啊，可
There's
是我没
really
有。
not much they can do.
Right.
But I will refuse to count this
我最近的工伤就只有
in a very different way than most of us.
最近有一款画三国，
Thinking right now,
可是是做影片
what do you do if your 9 work is
然后
correct? I think
我
what
的
you
我那个
hope
做
for
的
is
影
second
片
target and you try to
5号会上
overrun the
在2天就
anti-air
上了
defenses，
然后
of Nurture somewhere,
再来的
right?
工伤就
Nurture's
是
obviously
3战
Queens,
可能会有，
he already has a sport
跟
call
文明帝
for
国
base.
可能会有
I
啊，
think
目前
the
正在
only
跑
chance
工
that
伤
you
就
have
只有
here
帅
if
图
you， has
目前
is
正
the
在跑
second。target and you go mass air. Trying to do anything with gateway units or
No.
robotics facility, I don't believe is going to work.
What I love about what you just said, Kevin, is that's probably what Nurchio's thinking too.
Yeah.
And then Haz is not thinking that, or yeah, exactly. He's not thinking. He's not thinking that at all. DTs off of like 3 or 4 gateways are going to show up, my man. I'm telling you right now.
I mean, DTs obviously is still a combat unit, just like disruptors and other stuff.
He still has that pylon. He still has those cannons.
Yeah. So. But I don't think that Nurture is gonna ignore that forever. He's gonna use the queens to harass the gold, which I think is a very smart play.
It's smart, but it's so risky. I hold my breath. I mean, in this case, we see all the information. It's good.
Drones, 4 drones.
我觉得黑石输了、欸
Not，bad.
他是过誉啦，什么搞死对方，我觉得他过誉
Because
了
if it was just more oracles, the 4 queens show up, and then like 5 oracles just destroy all of them, and then that becomes really bad. But we know that's not happening.
I mean, I don't see how Haz is going to be able to mine up this gold for the next minute or so.
There's the Dark Shrine.
Yeah, until the Dark Templars are out. And you are right about that pylon, but I think now the Queens, Roaches, and Ravages are going to work on that pylon and those 2 cannons that Haz still had.
I don't know. The Ravagers will, yeah. You're right. And that's where the Oracles unfortunately just spent their energy. Otherwise, they could have came over. No, they would have got transfused, and the Queens would have chased them off. So this gets weird. Look for a probe to go out on the map again, because the idea of just warping in DTs at home, I think, seems a little bit weak to me.
What about Blink DT over the gold mineral lines twice? Like you're bunny hopping into the main base.
Kevin, get out of here.
No? Oh, sorry.
I mean, a boy can dream, but come on.
Let a boy have a dream, Jeff.
Yeah, let him. And that boy will grow up to be Haz.
Shadow Strike. Just
Now,
wait.
I feel like, by the way, this game does
我现在都在 YT 开比较多，
I got the gold.
偶尔会在 Twitch。
Down to his natural. What can he make off that mostly 1 base that I'm worried about? I feel like one of the things has to be DTs that you come up with, right?
Yeah.
So we already know there's a Spore Crawler. I'd love to see an Overseer or 2. And then I want to see defensive play from Nurchio. He is only on the 2 bases, but he's been ahead economically this entire time. Let the game ride
是
out.
阿光哦，
I feel like
按总叫
around
HWEI
the。map, doing a little cheeky harass and whatnot. The higher the risk you get of just something weird coming in from Haz, who's down half supply, by the way. He's way behind.
He's got 16 army supply. This is when you send in your Dark Templars, and I don't even know what you're hoping for, because he knows there are oracles. He
I would have
knows
waited.
你用越南人的电脑哦，对吼，忘记你去越南人喝
That's not gonna
喝
be
饮料了。
here. So he'll get some economic damage, and don't get me wrong, this is nice. But this was the big trump card that he just played out. Like, unless this goes completely okay, no, he does see it.
I'm actually amazed that he's getting 9 drones, Jeff. 10. He's getting 10 drones.
今天这个饮料有够硬，
There were spore crawlers in every
你
base, and it was a
你可以不要喝啊，不用硬喝吧，不好喝就不要喝啊。
DTs and they got 10 drones. If it was like 4 DTs or 6, like I was saying, and he only got 10, then he's just super dead. But I'm looking at that army supply, and I'm still really concerned. The upgrades hugely in favor of Nurchio. They are on equal bases, and the worker count's not that bad. It is 10, so it's bad. Don't get me wrong. But I just
哇，我都
really
这
find
后
it
虫，
hard
这
to
王
believe
这王虫的
that
呀
Haas。could pull anything out here.
I think that Nurture is gonna go for a good old Roach Hydra drop later on, as he's already getting Overlord speed. Now, charge is done. Of course, he can use Dark Templars to morph into Archons as well.
But even that's expensive, and charge against roaches is not good.
Oh, I'm with you, Jeff. I've been with you since the very beginning of this game. I'm just trying to look at it from Haz's point of view, what he's obviously hoping for. He's hoping for a miracle. I mean, there's a lot on the line. He has never made it to a WCS semifinals. He's up 1-0 here over Nurcho. And he didn't have an easy bracket, right? Like, you can say what you want about Has, and if he got there somehow through a very crazy draw, then we'd be like, whatever. But he won a group with Special and Laser. Like, come on. That's super impressive.
And even beating Kalazar. I mean, he is the lesser name there. I do agree with you, but Kalazar is no slouch at all. Good pickups here by Nurchio to not allow for that to do much. And I will say, by the way, Nurchio is doing what I was saying. This is a smarter play. Just go up to 3 base, move on to 4, get those Hydra upgrades going. You'll catch
这个东西红好痛哦！
will make donations to you of like, hey,
原来我已经不行了，我这样讲个几句话，红就好痛哦。
the further behind he falls.
To put things in perspective, all 3 of the players we just mentioned, Kalazur, Special, and Laser, made it into the WCS Global Finals last year. All 3 of them were top 8 in the WCS circuit. So Has's bracket has been tough, and it's incredibly impressive that he's made it this far.
Yep. Won game number 1 with a little bit of cheekiness, but for the most part, it was just knowing when to pounce, when to put it all on the line. This time, it was Nurchio that opened up with some pretty interesting stuff, and then Has's reaction just wasn't up to snuff so far. That being said, the worker count and army supply grossly in favor of Nurchio, the tech very much so in his favor, but Haas is just so clever. There's just, I mean, like the guys were talking about the desks, it's so common that you hear people discount them, and everyone like, who do you want to face in the round of 16? They're like, give me Haas, that's the weakest opponent. But then you get Haas, and some of these times the series get pretty wonky.
I mean, if you talk about crazy victories, if Has somehow pulls this one off, then I have absolutely no idea I'm watching. He's done a really good job with these oracles. What are the kills on these 2 oracles? Can we take a look at that?
He just doesn't build probes, though. If you, the longer you look at that production tab, it's like he's taking a base but not building probes.
In his defense, his main is probably drying out, and he doesn't really have a room to put his place. To put those probes, right?
我没有天天咳啊！你从刚刚到现在有听我咳过半声吗？我一声都没咳吧？
But like, when the more bases that go down, his percentage of chance of winning like goes down extravagantly. I think it's like he has a 35%. It's like, oh, he took a third. It's a 6.
I think what Has has been hoping for, and this is stuff we can see, is that Nurchio would have made an attack a little bit quicker. Has obviously afraid to probe up, afraid he wouldn't have enough units, and he'd be like, you know what, my what is what?
Oh, it's the
他这边工兵，哎，不对啊，他那个应该是失误，
That's my best.
感觉不像是，感觉不像是送农。
But I think that Has was hoping for an earlier attack of Nurchio, and he's like, you know what, my only chance is that I can swarm him on my side of the map with charge zealot, have good upgrades, and right on that moment I'm gonna collapse on that army, and then hopefully I can counterattack and win. Which isn't even the craziest thought ever. It just makes you look silly when Nurchio doesn't make an attack of 40 drones, and he's actually droning up, and his army is growing way faster than your army.
I think an Oracle just died behind this. Yeah, I was just gonna say the life expectancy of an Oracle typically is about 3 minutes. Has kept alive the entire time, but
哇，你们都那么早喝饮料，对不
I
对
might as well just give them to my opponent as I make them, basically. I'm like, I see good players do this, so I think I'm supposed to do this.
You know, I
Nice
feel
work,
like
Prism. Army's way out of position.
when I make oracles, I feel like I'm playing one of these games that's very tough, and you know you can never actually complete the game, but it's all about how deep you make it. If I make it past the middle of the map, I'm like, whoa, good run.
The win, not bad.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty good run.
这个黑石到底在坚持什么？他这盘就没机会，坚持超久。
I just don't believe. But to be honest, both Roddy and I, that last fight of game 1, were kind of like, this can't work either. But no,
this,
man,
this
no way.
can't work, Jeff.
Not this time.
Nurchio is gonna collapse on his army, coming in from every angle. He's gonna get on top of the sentries, and then Nurchio will know that he has played a very solid game on Redshift, even though there's still a couple Zealots being warped in. Where's Nurchio's army, by the way, Jeff?
Where's this? He's got 89 in army. It's like, you want to fight level 1
He's cleaning it up, though.
There we go.
GG 其实
Redshift.
前面光炮就已经亏死，那个 Nature 用那只蟑螂对于黑石来说根本就是毁灭性的存在。
I do think a very pivotal moment in this
如果不升防哦，
was that silly Roach Ravager very early counterattack.
Yeah.
That got into the main.
如果说你的部队有在甩的情况下，升攻的效益会比升防
Forced
高
all。those probes not to be mining,
Right.
and when the gold dam was finally up, Has actually didn't have money to get a second Stargate unit out, so he was never able to properly mine off that gold. Imagine a world where Has would have temporarily walled himself in. Those Ravagers don't walk behind the middle line. The cannon finishes up. You're gonna happen to me. I know how hard it is. So if he does that against Neeb, I think he has 7 probes there against Has. He's like, no.
And they're all jiggle patrolling. It's like, Has shows up, fakes the cannon, but he actually triple Nexus behind it. Weirdest game ever.
Alrighty, guys, we're getting ready for game 3 between this man, our Polish Zerk. He has been to many finals before, and he wants to make another appearance. It is Nurcho.
其实 C 罗应该也不算横空出世，他在那一年突然变超强的之前，他就有在打，只是没有像那一年那样子突然就统治了欧洲。
You know what's cool, by the way, about Nurcho is that obviously he's had a lot of success in this current WCS format as well, right?
Yeah.
He's made it to the finals of Austin last year. Back then, he made it to the finals in Tour, where he lost indeed against Showtime. Those were the great games that you mentioned. But he has never won one of those traditional WCS events. He has made a lot of very deep runs, and he's always your quarterfinals. You can fill him in, even like the last event in Austin. He made the quarterfinals again. It would be sick for Nurcho, after all these tries and after all these deep runs, if he's the one who suddenly finally lifts the trophy against you.
That'd be amazing. But in order for that to be true, Kevin, we had to get past what, in my mind, would be the bigger story than Nurcho winning his first major WCS event. It would be anybody beating Cyril, which right now seems to be the impossible task. Now, I like this from Nurcho, by the way. He takes the odd natural, and that's because by the time you get over there, if you are cannon rushing, there's a very good chance that you have to invest into it pretty fully, and they just cancel it and move on somewhere else. But behind this was actually a pretty normal opening from Haz, which I'd be kidding. I mean, I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't disappointed. Like, I know that he doesn't always cannon rush, I know he doesn't always cheese. We've already seen that, obviously. But I do think that's his strength. I think the weirder the game gets, the better it is for him. Now, that's not to say he can't make it weird here either, but I feel like if he looked at Nurcho and said, well, for this guy, I'm going to try a lot of, like, gasless zealot stuff. Oh, man, I don't think you prepared for Nurcho very well.
We'll see where he takes it, Jeff. There's obviously so many ways to go for Haz.
那时候之所以没有裸双，是因为那时候没有超级电池。
With a lot of gateways, maybe with some heavy Stargate play as well. That's the one thing we haven't seen yet. It's the Twilight console opening for now, but I want to see Haz throw down the second Stargate in one of these games. I want to see some +1 air weapons, because I know that's the style that he's very capable of executing as well.
Well, he did make a stalker over there. We haven't looked at the natural. Did the Overlord make it to the high ground? I think it did, yeah. So that's kind of the nice thing here, too. You make the stalker, so a deep dive scout's not really possible, at least with the Overlord, but that Overlord right there is also going to see a lot. So this map is already in that way kind of working against Haz. It sees the Robo, I believe that is, as part of the wall.
That's the gateway.
Is that the gateway?
The Robo's in the main.
Oh, and there's charge. So if he doesn't see the gas of the natural, sees no probe leaving for the third, you can again kind of minimize down to what you think you're facing.
Yep. But I mean, Haz could very well look at that game in 16-bit and be like, you know what? I think I can pull it off one more time. There's no reason that I will not be able to pull it off. Now, obviously, Nurcho can play it different. He can either don't counterattack, he can play it a little more economic. It's all about when he makes those.
说真的，其实黑石打重组也不是场场都光炮，然后 VR。你看他打到那么多场，打这个 Nature 每一场都是营运。
So far, Jeff, this is a mirror image of 16-bit when it comes to Haz's build order.
The only difference, actually, no, that Observer I think did come out last time and picked off the creep tumors and all that stuff. So yeah.
Exactly.
One of his builds. The kind of nice thing about this is you can branch off from here and do different things, or you can do exactly the same.
我知道为什么啦，因为 Nature 每一场2矿都开在3矿，他也没办法光炮。
Does want to do like you said, Kevin? Just be like, you know what? No, I'll sneak out 5 or 6 more drones, then go roaches, and go burrow because it seems to be something he might struggle to deal with. That could just win on this map.
I actually really like the idea of playing pure roach against somebody who stays on 2 gases. You go pure roach, burrow, tunneling claws. I think that's a brilliant.
2022连趴免费入场，哪一年有收费？不是每一年都免费入场。
The Zealots are not a danger anymore. Now, of course, the only thing you can say to counter that is that, well, what if you unburrow all your roaches, you eat a bunch of damage, you burrow on top of the Immortals, but then the Warp Prism shows up and picks up those Immortals and drops them on the other side again. That's, of course, a tricky play, and then you're starting to play a pretty dangerous game against somebody like Haz, who has most likely already dealt with that before.
Just the 4 roaches coming out, by the way, so not an actual huge number of roaches. Targeting the Warp Prism might be a big deal. It needs to pull back, and it will. So some of this damage is going to start happening right now. There's just not enough roaches. The Queens do take good position, but it's just not going to be good enough. They die immediately.
后虫卡的位置卡很好，但
actually here as well. I don't think he'll necessarily target. He's just going to go for economic damage.
I like that as well. I mean, he can wipe in more Zealots because he's been supply blocked. Now obviously he's gonna end up losing a couple, but damn, Jeff, this is already dealing a lot of damage. Good hold position there on the drones, trapping at least one of these zealots for a split second. Nurture, you're tanking too much damage on these roaches.
这波只是压制而已，
And it's already spiraling out of
他
control.
就只是刷一点狂人式来弄你，但其实家里是打玉。他没补龙，他停龙。狂战士弄你，后面接3不朽吧，应该是长这样。
He's not taking a third behind this, by the way, so I do still believe that as long as Nurture can hold on and kind of put a button on this, he's got a chance.
It's tough though. I mean,
有快死吗？杀17龙，还真的是快死。
Yeah.
He lost 3 creep tumors. Now he lost roaches, queens, and 17 drones.
It's gonna be tough, Kevin. There's still no gas to the natural though, so I feel like after this wave of drones, you go up to 45 like that, and then it's just pure roach. You just have to. Nothing else. Maybe a queen or two.
No, I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you.
Nurture wants to go for the counterattack here too. But I don't like that because it's like one warp in of zealots and that gets completely put back.
Yep.
Whereas for him, it's the kite ability of roaches and kind of moving backwards that gives him the best chance.
Now, the one thing I want to add is some people might be wondering how on earth can this do so much damage against somebody like Nurture? That is, of course, the timings are a little bit different. 99% of your PvPs start off with a Stargate on the other side of the map. If you don't make a Stargate, that's a bad warp, and these Zealots are going to get picked off immediately, right in the range of these Zealots. Now, almost all ZVPs start off with a Stargate. If you skip the Stargate, these builds obviously show up a little bit faster, and Nurture just didn't respect it enough. Nurture underreacted. Yes, he's going to deal a lot of damage on the other side of the map, but Has is also going to deal an insane amount of damage on the side of Nurture.
Oh, the Warp Prism gets really low, and it does get off.
好像
is about to finish, but there's no ling, so I think that's a wasted.
这看起来死哦，这看起来死了，这看起来死了。
And finally, this will get cleaned up inside here after doing.
真的那个立场继续隔，2矿就掉了吧。
They give me massive concern. It just. No, that's it. Nurchio's got the big concern here too. He taps out 2-1 in favor of Has. 1 game away from taking out Nurchio.
And his first WCS semi-finals appearance ever. And perhaps the end of all Artosis curses. Because
hang on.
Oh, sorry. Too much?
It is. Okay. Yeah. If Artie Mictosis gets up there and starts talking about him winning and going to the finals,
yes.
Okay. That's how you dispel that death curse from Artosis. If he predicts this guy into the finals and he can do it,
they beat Serral. Like,
now keep in mind, I don't want us to let Artosis off the hook here though. This is his second prediction, which really just came to fruition this tournament. He went into the Saiyans a laser, right?
That's right. That's right. Very blind early on. He really doesn't see much. He doesn't open up with the Adept. He just has a Stalker sitting there, you know. Yeah. He just doesn't really know. Then he has one Adept, maybe he chases it in the main. He's like, cool, not being all in, don't need 5 batteries, but it's just so different than everything else. Either way, here we go. We're loading into Catalyst. You say, uh-oh?
I feel like Catalyst or Lost and Found has got to be the home of Has, but introducing our players, lower right-hand side from Poland, needing your support to try and bounce back. It is Nurchio.
And this man, can we
连趴是今天开始的。
Everything a little different, but he's making it work. And he's on the verge of his first WCS semi-finals ever. It is Has.
You know, it would be so cool. He also comes from a different region of WCS. We don't talk very much about this, but we have, you know, the EU, the NA qualifiers, but there's also some other qualifiers. There's the one that he comes from, there's the Australian, there's different parts of this WCS system that these guys compete in, and he is dominant over there. But, you know, for the last year or two, he's shown up, he's had some pretty funny wins, we've had some great moments, he's always been this guy. But it's only now that he's climbing the top of that Korean ladder, he's really putting in the hours, and he's becoming a monster. We know the cheese is coming, but he's mixing in the different variety of cheese, and it's really hard to play against.
Yeah, I think one thing where you can really see that has grown as a player is I feel like in the past, in the beginning of the game, he would have a build in mind, and he would do it, no matter what happens in the game. And I feel right now he's a lot better at identifying the scenarios, and he's still gonna plan an attack. Don't get me wrong, he's still not the Protoss who feels like, all I have to do is sit back and get Colossus and disrupt this.
你们有谁会去连趴啊？看我突然觉得好懒。
Actually, is not gonna work if your opponent has scouted it. He's able to delay it.
我想要不要归在家里就好，不出门。
And he's simply taking much better fights. and many better decisions.
对啊，好远哦，我过去也要快1个小时。
He's obviously paranoid going up against Hess, and he has
我
expanded
想说要不要干脆就是家里
the
开直
range,
播
which I
算了。
I mean, interesting is perhaps even an understatement.
啊，你看 Nature 也是开3矿，那 Nature 根本就是他完全就是针对黑石光炮这招，所以2矿都直接开3矿。因为从这次比赛之后，对，从这次比赛之后，重组打神族那一段时间都是直接开3矿的居多，很多，不能说大部分啦，就是但是有不少人会这样做。
Your drones get there later. It's more exposed. Creep spreads harder. It's not a good base, but against Haz, and if he is opening a can rush, that is the kind
I
of base
think
we'll take.
Nurcho is gonna link flood. I think he's gonna make nothing but Zerglings, and this is freaking risky. Nah, he makes drones now. It really felt like he's like, you know what? If you play that greedy, if you wall off with a Stalker, Stalkers have no DPS, what would happen if I make 22 links? But that's such a risky choice, obviously, with your tournament life on the line. He made quite a few links, but now he's stopped. I still think he's gonna try to get something done with those Zerglings. He finds this probe.
Well, he finds the probe, but the probe finds him too. He's seeing Lings come out like that. And even though we know it's not a full investment Ling flood behind this.
If he would have done that, by the way, he would have won, Jeff.
I don't know.
Come on. If now if
yeah,
you
I
show
mean,
up
that's
with,
both the gateways right there. And there's if there's a Stargate behind this, you can survive it. You're right.
Yeah, without the Stargate. And Haz is doing all of this without a Stargate.
哇，好危险，好危险！
Gonna have to warp
隔
in
一下。
sentry or temporarily a battery, I guess. That means that this probe is gonna get picked off as well. I mean, that Cybercore would have also gone down, and that's very...
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Literally, the way that Protoss survived that kind of attack is they have other production elsewhere, but this is actually all of it right here.
Yep.
You know what's funny, though, is because, I mean, Haz gets lucky too, right?
哦
That's a
引
thing.
刀
There's the Dark Shrine. It was
他有下 VR 吗？哦，他这个应该是要，
though, right? It picks off the stock.
他这个黑石这招应该是要过去刷狂战士，刷个2轮，
Go for the link flood because
2轮狂战士骚扰之后，然后刷引刀去闹的那个。
Yeah.
and which is an excellent choice, guys. Don't get me wrong. Against a Protoss that doesn't make a Stargate, then obviously having that hatch a little bit further forward is better because that means those things show up that tiny bit quicker. There was a Dark Shrine on the way, but since Nurcho is going to Overlord Scout this game, which is something I would like to mention, he not always does, and has just built it elsewhere, by the way. He built it in the corner of his base instead.
Oh, it's so funny. It's going to be a continuation strategy, though. It can no longer be kind of the main emphasis here. It's going to be a Forge behind that as well. And worker count still slightly in favor of Haz, but that's a pretty funny thing that kind of ebbs and flows that way.
And with this, with the base over there, I'm just so worried. What if
He just goes into the main, right?
Yeah, what if a sentry shows up? What if you drop a force field on top of the ramp? Of course you've got Ravager these days, but that's still gonna make things very complicated. And we all know that Haz doesn't make too many gas units anyway, so even if he's only mining off 2 gases, he will still be able to get quite a few sentries.
Yeah. I do like the zoning out from those queens, though. If you can't get inside the base, there's nowhere to drop that sentry. Baneling Nest being queued up here this time. He says, okay, well, I'm going to respect your Zealot timing attack.
I think that's very smart, getting an earlier Baneling Nest, because Haz is obviously so freaking Zealot heavy because he doesn't take his gases. Why not get Banelings? Even if those are slow banes, they're still pretty damn good.
Every time. Any of them can connect at all. It can completely transform the battle. I think we should keep our eye on that Warp Prism, though. That's got to be a big thing here, because here come the Dark Templar. Is there any Spore at the natural? There is not. In the main. Because I know we got one over there. There's not.
There is an Overseer there, though. Does Nurcho see it? He does not see it yet, but he has an Overseer. But the Roaches are out of position now. If these Dark Templars just
刀其实都砍到了，就直接走。
really bad here for Nurcho again. He doesn't have a
但是有2本。
So losing even just a couple is already very painful.
No, one of the DTs kind of sloppily does wander into the 1 Overseer and Roaches.
Well done by Nurcho. That could have gone so much worse.
The other one not inspiring super confidence here. It could get picked up.
Yep.
Zealots.
Well
This
done
is
there.
kind of what you get with Haz. Like, this is all really good ideas, but executed maybe not at the most high level. And he's got a lot of gateways being added behind this, and the 3rd Nexus is finishing. But as you said, and you've been saying for a while, there's no gas to the natural. So it is mostly just Zealots and Immortals. You don't see something like 8 Sentries or something crazy like that, or a lot of Archons.
So Nurcho is actually going to be the one that will really be aggressive this time. And this is not just like, let's see what he has. Like, no, he's committed.
哇，完了，掉了。
Yep. And Dark Templar inside of it as well. That's not a cheap loss. Now Nurcho is running up a tiny bit behind this, but he has a lot of units. And I'm curious to see if he wants to get something done with them.
Hey, he's just kind of floating out there.
说过啥？
You know what? After picking off the Warp Prism, he might suit himself advantage enough, I guess. as we look at this again, a back and forth exchange might have been good for Nurchio, just in the sense that it is mostly. It's okay to buy some time here as well, because he actually was on a very low drone count, by the way. When he was making those 7 drones, he only had, I think it was 39 drones himself, so it's that's really low.
Couple of Zerglings will morph into Banelings. Obviously, we know that nothing too crazy is coming. If you're Nurture right now, you're incredibly paranoid about any given moment. A massive Zealot army showing up somewhere. So he wants to make sure he's not caught off guard and that he doesn't have any Banelings. Because if you have to start those Banelings once the Zealots already show up, they're often a little bit too late.
Again, I look at that production tab. Not a lot of probes coming out there, my friend. It is little to no. There's the Warp Prism. There's a couple of safety pylons. I honestly think Haz's game plan is like, make a ridiculous, crazy army and then just go. And it's not what most people are going to do. It's only the 4 sentries, 4 immortals.
We have Ravagers, Jeff. Are there a couple of Ravagers?
I look at this and I doubt it again too, Kevin. I just, somehow this is going to win. Let's just go ahead and take a look at how. I don't, you know, like,
well,
what is this?
Nurture's going to be very careful. You can't lose a part of your army through a couple of force fields. He spots it. So far, the scouting has been good, and now I think he really had a good glimpse of how many Zealots he has to worry about. 9 Banes, I like it. 1 Queen does get sacrificed there. It's just Banelings,
not even an observer.
And more Banelings. That's what you want to get right now. Banelings are so freaking good against Zealots.
Well, there's the first wave of Banelings. They're not going to really connect just yet, but a lot of the force fields baited out for absolutely nothing. Supplies pretty close, although slightly in favor of Nurchio. Upgrades, just a 1 attack upgrade for our Protoss player. Baneling's speed is getting close to finishing.
哇，这波我觉得打不下，这个毒包太强了。
They are going to waddle forward. They connect with the center mass of this army. It's a good concave. They're fighting on creep. I can't.
然后交战地也太宽了，
What I love there
没
is
什
that there
么
are a
立
few
场
more
发挥的机
Banelings
会。
finishing up. Most of the Zealots have disappeared. Nurture is going to jump on top of these Immortals, and this time, Jeff, at least things expected or unfolded in a way we kind of expected it to. I love the timing of that second wave of Banelings. Never use all your Banelings at once, because if they then don't blow up all the Zealots, the Immortals and Zealots can still win against the Roaches. But now Nurture gets it done. GG. And Jeff, we're heading into Game 5.
Another Game 5, another interesting series.
又打到赛末点。
Whatever these pro gamers are eating and drinking between WCS Austin and here, I'm in favor of it. We've had some amazing upsets, some crazy games, and some really cool results. It's been a really fun thing to track here. And now Haz is going to go into that Game 5. And I can't imagine I'm the only one asking this question, but it is going to be lost and found. Like, are you going to do it? Are you going to show us the cannons?
I think so, because yesterday he waited 5 games against Galazur to give us splash damage out of nowhere. He storm dropped on top of a bio army. We're like, is this house?
Like, I saw big Protoss players do this.
Yeah. And today he's going to do the opposite of what everyone thinks is going to happen. He's like, 4 games? You guys think I'm going to cannon rush?
Not today.
I will not cannon rush, but lost and found. Oh, I'm expecting an all-out cannon rush.
This map turns non-cannon rushers into cannon rushers.
That's true. Even I have done.
Oh, 看最后一场好了。
again.
I actually did it on accident too. Like I accidentally built a forge because I thought I was facing a Zerg. There's a Protoss. I'm like, well, here we go, and then
It
kinda
worked.
Yeah,
That's kind of what I had as well.
a
It's
little
like,
bit silly.
I was like, man, I'm playing against this Protoss that always beats me. I really am not in the mood for it. You know what? I'm going to cannon rush. Oh my god, I won. Lost and Found is an amazing map for cannon rushes because of the way that the natural is positioned. There's a couple of very sweet spots where with just 3 pylons, you will have all the time in the world to throw up a cannon. And if your opponent is not in position to prevent those 3 pylons from going up, which happens very quick, that's within a second from each other, then those cannons will go up, and then often you're in a little bit of trouble as the defending player.
And we saw his game against a laser. We didn't even have it as the featured series, I believe, on that desk, but we were able to cut away to it on day 1. And he did do that cannon rush. It got the hatchery, and it kind of spotted the high ground, but the hardest part, in my opinion, about cannon rushers and that style is, again, just the concept of where do you go afterwards? Like, let's say it doesn't even beat you or kill you outright. The follow-up is very confusing for most of these top-tier pro gamers, but a true and seasoned cannon rusher like Haz, he's been in that post-cannon rush situation hundreds of times.
With the amount of roaches that Nurture makes, without truly knowing what he's facing, I say, Haz, this is when you cannon rush into double Stargate.
Yeah.
This is your moment. This is what you've been building up for 5 maps. And see if he can upset this man. It is the Polish Zerg. He's sponsored by Red Bull. He's been with them for a while. It is Nurture.
And it's been a bumpy ride, but in the lower left-hand side, the Protoss player from Taiwan, it's Haas. Can he seal the deal? Can he get a big upset here? Get the highest placement he's had yet?
哦，这个就是失物招领吗？然后结果这边那球一样是开3框，所以一样是没办法光框。
Doesn't see anything just yet, and I don't know that he can rush us in this situation. And that's so far in this series, the answer's been no. He's not just on autopilot. He won't do it.
I honestly believe that if Nurture would see the same thing as he's seen on, let's say, Acid Plant, and he sees the same thing as he saw on Catalyst, if this is not a WCS quarterfinal against Haas, I'll guarantee you he would throw in a link flood, and it'd be like, that should work, right? But it's just on that rare off chance that somehow Haas scouts it very early.
Has a target in the main or something.
Or he goes for the full wall off, and suddenly he's got 3 batteries there, healing up the side of the next score, you lose all your links. It's just not a risk that a lot of people are willing to take when the tournament life is on the line.
Yeah.
And this is also not one of those moments where Nurture's like, man, I really hope I can get past Haas. No, that's not how he thinks. For him, this would be a ridiculous loss. If he goes out there, that would be an absolute missed opportunity at least another semifinals or perhaps even a championship here.
A lot of WCS points.
重温一下。
It's gigantic, and that's kind of what's at stake here. I do agree. But at the same time, we're in that awkward stage too, where Haas has won his 2 games, not off the back of that weird opening or a failed all-in by Nurchio, but rather by this weird kind of mid-game all-out aggression and follow-up and the cuts he's willing to make. So it does get weird for Nurchio as well. I feel like he goes in this last game and says, all right, look, the one game I lost, I think it's because of bad target priority or maybe just too few drones. The next game, this last game, I dominated because I fixed up those issues. But what if Haas mixes it up even again? Because there is that Twilight Council.
感觉这个 VC 应该是要走提速狂。
Right, and it very well could be. But he's been trying to get that Dark Shrine working. You know he's good at Stargate. It could get weird.
Yeah, we'll see. For now, it looks like it's the same thing. And once again, if this was a smaller match, Nurture would link for him, and it would actually work.
Oh, yeah.
Because Haas plays so gritty, guys.
There's 6 so far.
Yeah, I mean, he probably looked at those 8 links in the previous game. He'd be like, man, that went really well. But
I mean, there's a Sentries that. Well, I think he's done that in the past too. You know, the Overlord's looking down on this, so he can kind of make the choice on the fly here. We're about to see where he's going to land on that choice.
黑石这个流程是不用停气的，然后多的瓦斯会在第2个 BG 兵出哨兵，这样的话也比较不怕一波。
If I just use these links to pick up that Stalker, and again I can force out a building, that would already be nice. But with the Sentry, the Stalker is actually gonna live for now.
Yep. He could just end up waiting till it gets low in health, force field it back, and then replace the Stalker with a building there or something like that.
So now if you're Haas, you're already like, hey, he made 8 Zerglings, didn't get anything done. This is good. These are all.
Maybe he like knows the build so well too. He's like, oh, you're dead.
Yeah.
in 4 minutes, you're dead. I can't.
Can we get a camera shot of Haas? Is he fist pumping yet?
Oh my God! I'm doing it. I'm going to
You know, all these other people, they make oracles and adapts to do economic damage. I just sit here and they do it to themselves.
Man, I hope he was going to make those 8 lings, and the second he did, I knew I had it in the bag. Like, for you guys at home, by the way, the game is not quite that black and white, but there is that War Prism coming out. A couple of gateways for a total of 4. No explosion of gateways just yet.
Zergling's gonna run into the main base.
They get blocked off.
Wow.
Friend.
Very last moment.
Can't run in when they're warping in from Ire. Not
Meyer.
today.
So charge halfway down.
Does spot the War Prism at a very early point, though.
But there is no Forge this time, is there?
There is. Just not using it.
好，一样是4狂战士鸭子。我杀才很仔细看他的流程。之前那时候在转他比赛的时候，我没有很仔细看他这招怎么打。杀才发现，原来他这个流程跟前面几场打这个流程是一样的，一直追猎，一直哨兵，然后再4只狂战士出去骚扰的时候，把自己一攻提上去，然后出不去。他就是给压力而已，这个就给压力而已。轻从他呀，给压力啊！对方如果太偷，就刷狂战士干他。啊，他如果有像这样有蟑螂的，没关系，我就轻从他。然后等到后续那个3不朽加上那个哨兵加上1攻就出去，然后开3矿。啊，这时候就开了，就是3矿的情况下，然后在大概6分半的时候会出门。他大概在1分钟会出门，看一下是不是6分半出门。6分半出门以后，那时候会有3只不朽，然后加上大概6、7只哨兵吧，然后提速狂这样。
You don't have to wait very long for those roaches to be useful.
That is true. if Has would switch it up here, would take his gases, would get, let's say, a Robo Bay and a second Robo, he's gonna make Stalkers and Disruptors from this point on.
But he knows only one way.
Nurture would be in a world of trouble, but Nurture, once again, he's gonna make his Roaches. Bailing Nest has been thrown down as well. Does he still have that Overlord in the natural? Can he see the gases of Has?
我觉得这个现在还可以打，可以，
Well, it got picked off. I mean,
因为
there's the lack of gas to the head.
没什么变啊。
He doesn't know about the third.
那时候打法跟现在打法其实没什么变，这打法还是能用。
No, he does know about it. So he's going to attack, and attacking into Has is a scary thing.
I think it's more like to get a couple units here and there, right? But
He never doesn't have an army. He's always got an army.
Yep. Well, these Roaches are in trouble. I mean, that's a lot of force fields, but that's still 3 Roaches for free, so that's obviously a nice little pickoff.
You know what's funny, though? Against any other Protoss, force fields like that is not a big deal at all. But against Has, it's like, for the next 10 minutes, he doesn't have enough gas to make those sentries back again. Like, and he fights so often that the energy actually becomes a bit of an issue. So I'm not... It's good for Has, by the way. I'm not trying to say otherwise, but it's a little bit silly.
Now Has is going to go for some multi-prong, and I feel he has to be careful. That's another Roach. That's number 4 that has been picked off without really losing too much. That is... Well, quite a few sentries and even more zealots. And don't forget about that
Ravagers? There's
massive
no Ravagers.
zealot hit squad in the right bottom side. Has is once again going to try to go for it with a lot of units. Where are those Banes morphing? Can we take a look at that? All right, so now Nurgle sees it, and now he has to make the decision. How much do I send to deal with this?
Oh, geez, this is going to get weird. Zealot's running up into the main base as well as fighting the natural. No force field bait out just yet at that third base fight, but the army is so spread out now. Banelings by themselves. Can they connect with the Zealots? The answer is yes, they can. Some force fields do get bait out, but they don't actually connect here. And that's going to be a majority of the force fields. Good Baneling connections. Once again, force fields kind of working against the Zealots. The Immortals doing a lot of damage, however, and inside the main, the Zealots are winning the fight. They're going into the natural as well. Has made chaos happen again.
哇，这个很极限呢。这个一个失误，后面蟑螂包上来把哨兵点光，这边可能要送了。
Has, you've got so much money, use it, and there you do have your big warp in. He's gonna land those force fields. Jeff, that's a lot of Zealots, and there aren't many Banelings anymore.
And the Immortals just continue to fire. Over at the natural, it looks like some Queens and Roaches might have created a bit of a fire base. The Zealots are going to be repelled from their supplies, equalizing a little bit. Force fields are almost out. There's another massive warp, and nothing is targeting that warp prism. Oh, he actually recalls back, and the fight's going to cease there.
Wow, Nurture lives. I mean, obviously, at what cost, we have to ask. He only has 33 drones left. But Jeff, he was very close, because if that prism
Nature 的工兵比较少。
there's a good chance the game just ends there.
Wow, absolutely. I thought it might have, actually. Nurture holds on, microing in like 3 places at once. He's going to go for the counterattack, Roddy, but there's Immortals.
You can't do that.
A 4th one coming. Force fields will be active here in a moment. A lot of Zealots.
And Nurture, I think he's faking it, right?
Yeah, he's droning behind this as best he can.
Because he knows he needs more drones. If he really wants to keep making Zerglings and Banelings, he needs more drones. So he's pretending Nurture has a little bit of money in the bank. You can't throw away units like that.
Even the Overseers, you know, right? Like, you don't want to remake those. There is no Dark Shrine, we know that, but with Has, you're just a couple of clicks away.
I want to say that Nurture did do one thing very well. He did a good job in controlling 2 armies while the Protoss army was in the middle, right? Because if you just stand there and the Immortals can wail away at the Roaches, everything melts. He just made 10 drones, by the way. Obviously, Has is coming. He has 14 drones. Those can be 14 Banelings soon.
这已经是神族超优势了。刚刚那一波打完，虫族剩30几农，然后双方都3矿，这个虫族应该是没得玩了。他这一拉走，要把3矿打掉。
Destroy them. Banelings now turning back around. They don't connect with anything. Just the shields of those Immortals. He does get back away from the Crocodile. The hatchery so low in health. It is going to die here in just a second. There it goes. It's a lot of the production, a lot of the mining. Meanwhile, behind it, the 4th base was canceled. Zealots moving into the natural. They aren't able to fight that army, so he's just going to pull back and zone away this army and give more time to Has.
And that's really good play by Has. You don't want to throw away all those Zealots for
the
nothing.
force field's careful.
Without Banelings, though, more Zealots coming in from the back, Jeff. Normally, Has should have this in the back. He has +2 finishing up as well. Nurture just doesn't have any Banes anymore, so these Zealots are going to be a nightmare to deal with.
No, and he's just kind of waffling back and forth. And one of the things Has been doing such a good job of is every time
in the main base,
Nurture tries to go for some Zealots up inside the main. Never mind, I'm going to hold the thought. Zealots going inside that mineral line. There's just a few Roaches there, excuse me. But this army's now on top of the natural, and I think they just won some space again. They can use the hatchery against our Zerg player, Nurchio. And if that hatchery goes down, so does the game for Nurchio. He's got to fight here and now, but the positioning's so bad, the hatchery does end up dying, and all of a sudden has options. Just GG, Nurchio's out of here. Has from Taiwan is your semi-finalist. Wow, what a series by him.
What a run by him so far in this tournament. He keeps defeating the odds. He beat Laser, he beat Special, made it past Calazur, and now he...
看我那时候现场看这个真的是超振奋。
Did the same build almost every single game, but somehow pulled it off. I mean, different execution, really good army movement with the Zealots, and Artosis is smiling in front of us as has somehow made it into the top 4 of this tournament.
Absolutely stunning results from Has. And as I understand, we actually have the ability to do an interview with him now on stage, so I want to hear from this guy with Sue.
Thank you very much, guys. Congratulations, Has. With this win, you are in the top 4, and this is your best placing in a WCS event ever. So what does that mean to you?
就是这次你已经进入4强了，然后这是你目前最好的成绩，这对你来说有什么意义？
我不敢相信我可以走到这里，因为我在16强的时候遇到人组，我以为我在那边的时候就挂了。
He can't believe that he walked through here because when round of 16 he faced a Terran, he thought he would lost at there. Yes.
Well, it looks like your winning streak is continuing at this event. You've defeated so many strong players. You took down a Laser, Special, Kelazor, and now Nurchio. I mean, what does this mean to you? I mean, this is very impressive.
你到目前为止击败了很多对手，像 Major、Laser、Kelazor 还有 Nurchio。那这对你来说代表了什么
？16岁的领域。
去年我输了 Major 还有伊拉哲很多次，我根本没有赢过。这次赢了，我觉得很开心。
He said last year he faces Major in Laser and many times and he never wins. So this time he wins, so very happy this time. Yeah.
And I know top 4 is nice, but I'm sure now you would love to make it to the grand finals. If you want to do that, you have to beat Showtime. So what do you think of your PvP and what do you think of Showtime?
你接下来要进冠军赛的话，就是要打 Showtime PVP。那你对他有什么想法吗？
他是一个很全面的选手，我觉得他很强，但是我觉得我不一定会输。
He thinks Showtime is a very good player. He got very good skill, but he thinks he won't lose.
Wow, I love that confidence. Congratulations again, Haas. Thank you very much, Rex, for the translation. We'll see how that semifinal match comes up as it'll be our second one. But for now, let's head back to Nathanius.
Thank you so much, Smix. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Haas Championship Series as...
塔拉利亚的女士们、先生们，欢迎来到人之船，在你的黑暗预言里作为世界。
Our world has been flipped upside down, Artosis, and your dark prophecy has come true.
Oh my God!
The dark prophecy, indeed. Well, what can I say other than I'm right and all of you are wrong, and Haas is amazing. We should respect him and his skill.
哈斯太棒了。
You know what? I'm a Haas fan.
Yeah,
I'm going to be cheering for Haas every single series I see from here on.
Maynard,
2018,
you were
July.
In the back.
It's happened.
We were doubting him. We were doubting. The doubters.
I mean, I was just.
We've all been converted.
It wasn't so much doubting as it was just having faith in Nurchio because he is so solid and reading Haas so well. It's just that somehow, some way, Haas gets read. He gets prepared for. We saw Baneling Nest, Roaches. He's getting ready for those big charge attacks, and it just works. How? Artosis, you have the answer. You always have the answer. What is it?
He's good. He's actually really good. And, you know, people let their egos get in the way of the fact that he plays differently. People reject the way he plays. They think, I work so hard on my micro and my macro and playing the standard game. That must be the way. It's so hard. But yeah. Haas just looks at it in a different way. And if you can shut down your ego and look at the way that he plays and how this is working with the lack of his other skills, that is what really underlines it. Imagine if someone with perfect micro and macro mix in Haas.
尼克松哈斯的人。
That would be the hybrid equivalent.
Maybe Maru wouldn't win a third GSL at that point. We'll see. But I'm just saying, he is really actually good, and I don't need to say it anymore because he is speaking for himself at this point.
He has made it farther than any of us would have guessed as this top 16 started yesterday. We've got our semi-finalists ready to rock and roll. Cyril will go up against Hero Marine, and Showtime will play against Haas. And Haas, confident in PvP. I think when you play weird styles and like to cannon rush,
Yeah.
PvP, that's your wheelhouse.
He's good at PvP.
Haas
It's
喜欢慢
true,
跑，
it's
真的。
real, and I'll be interested to see how that match goes. I have no idea, man.
Yeah, actually, I feel like Haas's odds of winning have increased now because he's made it to a PvP. Weirdly enough,
yeah.
Showtime came back earlier. I think you asked him. He's like, I don't know. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, we did talk to Showtime back there. It's kind of hard to tell because Showtime had that big grin on his face, like maybe.
He's probably just like, I can't believe this. He's
Yeah.
like, but is it the cockiness? Does that come into play again? Is Showtime thinking, well, Nurchio's pretty hard to beat, but
I think it'd be
Haas?
a massive mistake to be cocky at this point.
Yeah, you don't want to be overconfident against this guy. I don't know. I'm sure right now Showtime is sitting there really thinking, like, okay, what do I do here? And hopefully for his sake, he's talking to some other Protosses, Neeb and whatnot, and trying to figure that out. If he's smart, he's messaging printf at the moment.
Yeah.
He's getting his phone number. He's waking him
有啊
up.
，2018就有可 n 的，可是那时候的可 n 没那么强。
He's consulting the Council of Cheddar. Ladies and gentlemen, our next series, though, will be probably a little less cheesy. It's going to be Cyril going up against Hero Marine.
那时候可 n 大概对他评价就是打虫族很强的一个人类，
In a row in WCS,
大概是这种感觉。
Cyril
不像现在
be able to make the most of it this time.
Most people are going to say no, and I think the people that say yes are probably ill-informed. So I'm feeling like this is a Cyril series, but I've seen magic happen on stage. Haas has been whipping out his magic wand and casting spells over all of us, so maybe Big Gabe does it. Who knows?
Yeah, perhaps the best path for him is to employ some meme builds, Sartosis.
Well, I don't know what he has prepared, but I hope it's something that Cyril's not ready for because Cyril seems ready for just about everything.
Well, we can all hope for maybe a Liberator Ranger Battle Cruiser rush, but only time will tell. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the World Championship Series. We will return after a short break with that next TVZ. It's going to be Hero Marine versus Cyril.
“好，累了，剩下4强冠亚。” 威 V 的胜，你说我自己跟胜打的每一场比赛吗？可以啊，再找时间。如果有 VOD 的话，有这种东西啊。怎么没有2014以前的？我靠！ 这什么啊？要用这个软体才能开的啊。太老了啊！那这样的话，我如果要找出我自己打的比赛，一定会漏的，不可能每一场都有啊。这啥？哦，我知道了。Recent match 灰0-4 Chucky 靠北。让我想到那天的发文，今天要打一场比赛，自由之翼，对手是阿吉，稳了吧？靠背0-4，笑死！有一场那个啊，有一场表演赛啊，也不算表演赛吧，应该算是表演性质的正赛，邀请赛啦，应该说邀请赛。是不是该来玩维多利亚了？这个那个很白痴他那个地图也有问题啊，你知道吗？那个我要出补件，我要出妈妈船，结果没有妈妈船这个东西可以出，太白痴了吧？你要撞我哦？没有要玩了，不玩了，退坑了。没事啊，你的心情我能理解。昨天我还打出小野猪，你的心情完全可以理解。 让我洗个脸休息一下，我们等等玩那个维多利亚3，好不好？大概我20分钟后回来。动漫哦，我只有看那个《间谍加加酒》，目前我正在看的。放 VOD 什么 VOD？ 这个东西还有 VOD 哦。维多利亚3有 VOD 是吧？星海的首页哦，星海首播不是已经放过吗？今天不是已经有了？可以啊，那不然我休息一下。按赞分享小铃铛，说今天的首播的再放一次吗？应该没关系啊。好，等我一下。 我重开一下直播。